Hello and welcome to Source of the Force, Ep02 on Buddha Palm TV. I am your host, Trev, representing Buddha Palm TV, and today we have another amazing guest for your listening pleasure. Today we have Tony Lloyd Brown, aka Mr. Brown Makes Beats, hip-hop producer, published author, an all-round good bloke. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking to say he's a good mate of mine. I've got a whole heap of respect and love for the man. You guys will too. So, with no further ado, let's crack on, man, because this one's a good one. Okay, Source of the Force, welcome, Tony. How are you doing, my friend? How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm looking forward to this. As you can tell, I'm excited.
Mate, you and me both. You and me both.
Yeah, man.
Pleasure to welcome you to the studio and welcome you on board.
Yeah, man. It's a blessing, man. I like I said, I appreciate the invite. I'm overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. Well, you know what I mean? That's why you got the overlay with very special guests, because that's exactly what you are, mate. You know what I mean?
Very special.
Very special. Very special.
Respect, man. I appreciate it, Trev.
Every time. So, as you know, how the show goes, this is basically what we want to do is pick the brain of our guests and kind of see what influences they had regarding sort of film, music, people, events that help them steer the path that they've sort of trodden. So talk to me about, let's go way back. Let's talk about Tony Lloyd Brown, young Tony Lloyd Brown. How did we start, man? The little egg.
Yeah, man.
What are you saying, man?
Yeah, man. You know what? This is going to be interesting because we know each other. Do you get what I'm saying? We know each other, so we might have to change some names to protect the innocent and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so, I don't want to get had up at Morrison's, you know. Seriously,
let's keep it. So when I say someone said, we'll leave it as that. Yeah, okay. But yeah, man. So obviously we're talking about music, we're talking about film, we're talking about influence. Yeah. You know, from a music perspective, obviously everyone's influenced by their home life. So I grew up in a house where my dad was a sound man, do you get what I'm saying, a DJ. So always grew up around music from as far as I can remember. You know, always had people in the house. You know, there was always like almost a blues in my house every night. Not exactly a blues, but you get me, music was playing. I learned to fall asleep as a child with music playing loud in my house downstairs. That was normal. Do you get what I'm saying? So, you know, that was kind of standard procedure coming up. Yeah. Born and raised in Marines, so I was initially, we lived on Staveley Road, on Mostyn Street, just off Staveley Road, and then from there we moved to Dunstall Hill. Yeah. Deep in the Marines, moved to Dunstall. Again, I don't even know how old I was when we moved, but I remember being like, probably 3, 4, living in Dunstall Hill. And yeah, man, I definitely got some fun and fun memories. I remember having a birthday party, my sister having a birthday party as well there, and music playing and friends around and jelly and ice cream and all that. So yeah, man, yeah, definitely.
So if I was to play you this song here, what kind of memories does that bring back to you?
Boy, this is a big tune, you know.
Who is this for the viewers? Who's this?
Lloyd Chalmers. It's crazy, you know. This is almost like the earliest song I remember as a child. Like growing up and knowing a song. This is probably the earliest record I can say I knew right the way through my life. Yeah, man, my mom used to love this song. My dad used to play this song. And like I said, I grew up liking this track. Big tune, man. I actually went on and sampled this later on in life. When I actually got into music production, I sampled this. Yeah, big tune, man. Yeah. I was actually gutted when I heard who was it, Shy Effects. I think they done a version of it, and I was like, nah. I wanted to put that out. But they done a good remix though.
You know what I mean? Obviously got exactly the same sort of influences and the feel in the tune too. So that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, man. Big tune, that is. Big tune.
Yeah,
so yeah, man, like growing up, it was all I was hearing, man. So everything like that, you know, Lovers Rock, roots, reggae, you know, Everything from Oris Andy, Alton Ellis, obviously Bob Marley, Dennis Brown, you know what I mean, right the way through to Yellowman. I remember we had a video of Yellowman doing a live performance. I used to love that as a youth. I used to love it, man. It was one of the first things I had on video cassettes and just watching it, you know what I mean, rewind it, watch it again. Eco Mouse as well, you know what I mean, all those kind of quirky type of artists.
No Eco Mouse.
Big tune.
Yeah. What sort of ages was this? What sort of age?
Boy, let me think.
How young were you?
In terms of like my memories watching it and listening to it, I would say when we lived in Heathtown, so I was like, what, six or seven? Yeah, man. Yeah, we got our first video when we lived in Heathtown, so I was about 6 or 7. So that's what, about 80.
You were flossing, mate. Got video
82. Yeah, man.
I was about 25.
What, when you got your first video? So yeah, it's probably about 83.
Yeah.
About 83 times. Yeah, man. I still love Eco Mouse. I think with him, it was like the quirkiness. I liked his quirkiness, and you know what I mean. It was like almost comedy music. You know what I mean. He was funny, man. He was a funny guy.
Like the style of it.
Yeah, man. Stylistic, you know
definitely.
I mean? Definitely.
So when you're looking at people like Dennis Brown or Bob Marley, it's kind of like the content, isn't it? But then you got other people who've got like a style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sort of shines through. That's their thing. That's their flavor. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Dennis Brown and Bob, and that was big man music. So, but as a youth, hearing like Eco Mouse and Yellowman, there was like because there was a quirkiness. I was drawn to it. Right. You know what I mean? As a child, I was more drawn to that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
So talking about as a child, we're talking about sort of first music, first records, or first bits of music that you collected. So, what memories does this bring back to you, bro? What is going on?
Whoa, yeah, man. Those were, so that's Pinky and Perky for those that don't know, and the Muppet movie soundtrack. So those were actually the first.
Muppets were a big thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I used to love the Muppets. That was TV gold. That was the Muppets. Even now, I watched a new version the other day on YouTube. I was creasing. It was so funny. Miss Piggy on social media. She was killing it. She was a social media influencer. But yeah, man, these were basically the first 2 records I purchased with my money. There was a School Fete. Where was it? I think it was Longley School in Heathtown. And yeah, I went to the School Fete, and you know, you got all the bits and bobs selling on the little tabletop market stalls, and I saw these 2 records, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm buying some records. And I probably paid like, I don't know, 15 pence for each record, or something stupid like that, like 10 pence, 20 pence. Got my 2 records. There was another one as well. So I bought Pinky and Perky, the Muppet movie, and there was another Disney one. It was the Rescuers soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And again, you know what I mean? As a youth, I used to play these tunes hard in my house, man, back and forth. To the point, again, later on in life, I went on and sampled the Muppet movie and made my own sort of music from it, man.
Wicked.
Yeah, man, some big tunes on that album as well.
Kind of coming back 360 because you select those tunes and you're thinking, right, okay, because that's my first tune, I want to find a little snippet from that and sort of make it go. You know what I mean?
I think what it was at the time, it was sample material. Do you get what I'm saying? I would look at anything and everything for stuff to sample, and you know, there were certain songs in there that I knew. I just knew them. Just growing up, I knew them. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, when I got my sampler, eventually, you know, I mean, I just jumped straight on there and went to those tracks and sampled them. There was another track as well. There was another album I bought. It was the Disney. There was a Disney one. So I bought 4 records at that School Fete. Yeah, man. So that was my first experience buying records. Again, I was young, man. Like, what's this?
So
What's
I heard that
this?
you mentioned Disney. I was thinking if you remember this track.
It sounds familiar.
It's probably got a long intro. Yeah, it's got a long ass intro.
Yeah.
I'll cut this bit out.
Let's skip into it. Just listen to that. You just listen to that. Is that not sample gold?
Trust in me.
You're sick to be fair.
Just in me. Yeah, man.
Shut your eyes. Trust
And to be fair, is that the
hold still, please.
This is a version. This is a version I made. Yeah. I got it on dub plate.
Safe and sound.
have you got an MP3 of that?
Knowing
I can get one.
Oh, right, about to say,
can get you
play it on it. I'll play it on it.
am
Okay.
Like it's sampled, play it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
slip into silent
Wicked.
slumber.
So yeah, man, that definitely got sampled. That dude. That intro. Sample gold, that is. I'm actually going to remake it now. I just thought about it. I'm going to remake that.
Yeah.
So I sampled that off the album, and also Chim Chimney as well. I sampled that, made a tune with that. So yeah, man.
Perfect.
It's interesting, you know what I mean, having them tracks from a youth and then in later life, you know what I mean, still having the records, you know, and then using them and making my own versions of them.
Yeah.
It's you know what I mean, just music is timeless, man. Definitely. I never thought when I was like 6 and 7 playing them, I'd still have them at like in my 20s, you know, and make my own version of it. So
It is kind of crazy though when you stop and think that. I think like genres like hip hop and genres like drum and bass, you're making it from other sources, or you're making something from nothing sometimes. I mean, something that's not even music, you're making it into a rhythm. Do you know what I mean? And it's like creation. It's science, man. Do you know what I mean? It's warping sound and messing around with things, and it's some serious stuff you boys are doing. So
yeah,
kudos to you, sir. Kudos to you.
yeah, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll get a lot deeper into that later on.
Most
there's
definitely, man. Most
a lot I could
definitely.
say
I'm
about
gonna
that.
Hit you up on that. So, okay, so these times that you're in Heath Town, what are your surroundings? What's going on in Heath Town? Tell the people about Heath Town.
Yeah. I mean, we could probably take a step back actually, because before I moved to Heath Town, we was in Brooklyn. We left Dunstall and went to go and live in New York.
Okay.
So when
How long were you there
about 2 years. So we left Dunstall. There was an opportunity for my mum and dad to go and, you know, I mean, pursue a business opportunity out there. My uncle opened a clothes shop, and it was, you know, what I mean, there was an opportunity there. So we just went out there, man. I just remember being young. I thought we was going on holiday, you know what I mean, and we ended up selling everything, moving out there, and being there. So yeah, I think I was like, we went there when I was about 5, and when I came back, I was about 7. We moved to Heath Town. So yeah, that definitely had a huge influence on me, man. Went to go and live with my nan and my uncle. And just being in Brooklyn and, you know, experiencing all that firsthand, you know, when we moved back to the UK. So again, we're talking 83, moved back to the UK, moved to Heath Town, and hip hop had just landed, like it just exploded in the UK then. So to move from Brooklyn to Heath Town and see hip hop happening, it was like, obviously I was there firsthand in New York, you know, so to come here and see it now, it's like, rah, this is really happening. Do you get what I'm saying, man? A breakdancing on cardboard on the precinct with a boombox. Do you get me? Like Goldie and them was out graffitiing up the place, breaking. Hip hop was playing. It was, yeah, man. The B-boys, legendary, man, legendary. And I literally, I had the opportunity to see that firsthand. Do you get what I'm saying? Going to Heath Town Community Centre and literally watching them, man, breakdancing, you know, and engaging with them and you know, being in and around them. It was like experiencing it firsthand. It was very influential, man. Very, very influential. So man like Goldie's always been a celebrity to me.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. Always has been a celebrity in Wolverhampton, to be fair. You know what I mean?
Man.
Even before he moved out and did his drum and bass thing, he always was.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
So moving from Brooklyn, where like you're in the mecca of hip hop in New York, there, so do you know what I mean? Things started in the Bronx, but Brooklyn was obviously there in the melting pot, in the mix. and then moving to Heath Town, what differences could you see? Obviously, it was like brand new in the UK, but what kind of what differences could you see between the two places?
I was young, man. Like I said, we moved there when I was 5. I moved back when I was 7, so I was young. But one thing I missed was obviously moving to Heath Town. It was just feeling secluded. Do you get what I'm saying? Where we lived in New York, just off Church Avenue, was right by Prospect Park. It's a huge park in Brooklyn, well-known park in Brooklyn. And that was literally across the road from us, and it was it was like West Park times 5. It was huge. So to then move into a little box masonette in Heath Town, and the farthest you can go is on the balcony to go and play. Do you get what I'm saying? It was thinking about it now. It was definitely that feeling secluded. You know what I mean? Feeling like isolated almost. But it was fun, man. I loved it. Like I've got nothing but fun memories from Heath Town, man. All the time we lived there. And like I said, it was because it was vibrant. Everything was happening. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I said, when I think about my memories of Heath Town, it feels like it was always summer. It was always playing out. There was always something going on. Do you get what I'm saying? The precinct was always busy and bustling. Yeah. I enjoyed school. I went to Longley School there. They've knocked it down now, but I went to Longley School. Pure good memories, man. Pure good memories. And even like that, around that era, I've still got, obviously there's people that I still see today. And it's just, from it's like, yeah, man, Longley. I may not see you for 10 years, but as I see it's like, yeah, man, pure love, Longley. You know what I mean? It was a certain group of us that kind of grew up and experienced that. So yeah, man, lots of good memories from Heath Town. But definitely, I think for me, I feel like I was privileged to see Goldie become who he became firsthand. Do you get what I'm saying? One thing I remember, not many people know this, I remember being at Longley and they'd done an art competition. You had to draw a poster for Keep Heath Town Tidy. Yeah, and whoever won the competition, they was going to put the picture on the bin trucks at the time. Yeah. Oh,
right. Okay.
And I basically won the competition. I'd done this drawing. Remember Dusty Bin?
Yes.
Of 321. I drew a picture of Dusty Bin, and I put 321 bingo or something like that. And I won the competition. It was judged by Goldie. He judged it. Way. So I won the competition now, and then my prize was what did they give me? They gave me like some Star Wars toy or whatever, and I was like, right, like proper. At the time, that was like a big deal. You know, it was like what was it? Like a snow speeder or something from Star Wars, one of the spaceships from Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I remember I had to go at the front at assembly and shake Goldie's hand and take the toy and take pictures and all that. And yeah, my picture was plastered on all the bin trucks in Heath Town at the time, man.
Sick.
So yeah, man, I remember that.
Proud moment, man.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Yeah. So explain to the people, the B-boys. So there might be people who are of a certain age who might not know who they are, or might not be from Wolverhampton and realise who the B-boys were and who Goldie was.
Yeah. Probably the biggest, if not one of the biggest, most well-known breaking crews in the UK. Not in Wolverhampton, not in the West Midlands, in the UK. Do you get what I'm saying? The B-boys, they were from Heath Town. There was Goldie. There was Bubbles. She was like the first ever B-girl. And she was sick. Bubbles was sick. Birdie. And there was a few, I can't remember the others, but those are the ones who I know. Obviously, I was young, man. Kiddo, that's right. So yeah, man. Just seeing them, man, do their thing at the community centre, it was like we had first-hand access to some elite breakdancers week in, week out. You know what I mean? We're there trying to do some little popping and, you know what I mean, trying to do a little backspin and whatever. And then, man, windmilling up the place and head spinning and backflips. It was just like, the level was just next level.
Some anti-gravity thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So to see that firsthand and then, you know what I mean, from there, for them to then be recognized on a global scale. So they went on Blue Peter, they was on TV numerous times, they went to America, they just blew up, man. And I was like, that's them guys from the youth club, like, it's them, man. You know what I mean? To see them blow up, it was, again, just pure inspiration, man. As a child, seeing like people who you know and touch and feel go and make it, you know what I mean? Or just be recognized on a global scale, or, you know, see them on TV. it was inspirational, man. Very inspirational.
And what sort of effect do you think that had regarding you going forward? Because you're obviously a young age and, you know, sort of taking it on and seeing those sort of people. What do you think? Do you think that made any difference to you, other than sort of saying
100%, 100%? Yeah, man. I think I've always had a drive and an ambition to do something. Do you get what I'm saying? I always knew I'm going to do something, you know, and I always knew no matter how bad a situation was or however, you know, I didn't do well at school. I ended up, you know what I mean, not doing really well. Ended up working some dead-end factory jobs for a number of years, but I always knew this ain't me. This is just now. You know what I mean? I never forget there was a time I was working in this factory, this dirty factory, man. It was like I was come on covered in grease and oil. It was like a zinc and aluminium foundry. So you melt the metal and you was making like locks for Yale and whatever. And it was just dirty, man. And
just dust.
I remember I remember sitting there and there was this guy across from me and we used to have to file down the bits of metal. And there was this guy across, his name was Vic. And Vic was probably like in his 60s. And I'm in my like late teens, early 20s. And I remember looking at him and I just thought, nah. He said, nah.
And he's probably been there since your age.
He was as inspirational to me as Goldie because I was like, that's not going to be me. That's not happening to me. So as much as that was the only opportunity I had, obviously I was working, I was bringing in a little money, but I just knew this is not the end. This is a means to an end. To get what I'm saying. So being in and around those people and seeing those people make it to mainstream, and obviously growing up now, I know that at that time they never really made it, but they'd made something of themselves, they made a name for themselves, they'd been recognized for something that they do. That gave me hope and an ambition to do it in my own life as well. And I've always carried that.
Wicked.
Hey, man.
Yeah. So at this point in time, hip hop was just starting to take off in the UK, and obviously you've got it. You're surrounded with it, man. You've got it 360 in Heath Town. And sort of music wise, what was the flavour of the day? What sort of things were you talking about then?
You know what, Trev? I was advanced in that sense. I was spoiled, man. Because when I came back from New York, we came back with cassette tapes. You know what I mean? I had tapes from the radio. Yeah, man. And again, you think I'm like 7, 8 years old. I got tapes of music that they're playing in the youth club and dancing to and whatever. I've had that on cassettes, but I was embarrassed in a sense of like, you know, it was like electro, everything that was popping, I had it, but I had it on cassette and it was taped off the radio. So I felt like I couldn't bring it and play it because it was taped off the radio. It wasn't like the official version of it.
Right.
It sounds mad, but it was like
you kind of felt like you were cheating or something because it was just on tape, not the proper.
Yeah, and then the man would talk on the radio, and you know what I mean. It was like he would mix and do his own little mix and that. So I was enjoying that for myself in my house and in my bedroom and whatever. But I felt like I couldn't bring it to the youth club and play it because it wasn't the actual record. Do you know what I'm saying? I thought I'd have to bring the record and put the record on and have the official copy. But thinking back now, it's like if I would have took that to the youth club, they would have robbed it off me. They would have ripped my hand off.
Oh, mate, you wouldn't have that. You wouldn't have that.
I would not have that. You know what I mean? That was like official. Yeah, man. From the Mecca, straight from New York, live, DJ Red Alert or whoever it was. I don't know who it was at the time, but you know what I mean? I definitely was like, I was spoilt in that sense because I had access to that stuff early.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
What does this tune mean to you, my friend?
Oh dear me.
Who's it?
So it's UTFO. I'm not going to try and rap it. Check it out, you know. The beautiful wife. This track, oh man. Life, Split Personality. So this track's called Split Personality. UTFO. The reason I remember this track, so this was about what? 86. That's about 86, 88. Yeah, 86 that was. So this was on a later tape I had. So by this time now, I think I was living in Farndale, and my uncle came from America to come and visit us. And my Uncle Lloyd was one of them people, he would just turn up. So I'd be outside playing, you know what I mean? And I'd come in the house and, oh, Lloyd's here? And he'd have like clothes for us, you know what I mean? Some fresh scarves from New York. He'd have music for us, food, trainers, you know what I mean? Come and bless us, man.
Yeah.
And
What kind of trainers? What trainers you talking?
Everything from pony. You remember Lotto?
Yes.
Yeah.
The pony
Listen,
linebacker. Pony
There was
linebackers.
yeah, man. I had a pair of pony, and I was embarrassed because no one else had them. Yeah, everyone was rocking Nikes or Adidas or whatever, and I had a pair of pony, and I hated them. And then probably about a year later, pony bus in England.
Yeah.
You get me? By then, I grew out of my ponies. You get me? My dad had a pair of Lotto. He had these Lotto shoes, some Italian like snake skin trainers. Yeah, there was like a baby blue kind of color.
Easy enough.
Yeah, man, he was flossing. But again, no one ever knew about Lotto. Like there was because if they weren't Nike or Adidas, it was like Lotto. Like what's that?
What's that?
Travel Fox. I had Travel Fox early. No one they know about Travel. I had Travel Fox school shoes. And I was like, yeah, man. Yeah, man, we were fortunate in that sense because obviously we had that connect. But yeah, man, one time he came over again around 86, he brought me a mixtape, and this was one of the tracks on the tape that really stood out. Again, because it was kind of quirky, you know. I mean, the song was called Split Personality, and he was saying, you know, he was talking in different accents. He'd done a Jamaican kind of flow. He flowed in French. You know, I mean, there was one line he says, "I can act like a crook, steal a book off the shelf, and I can act like a cop and arrest myself." And you know, I mean, those type of lines, yeah, man, just stood out to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, there was a lot of good music on that tape, man. Eric B and Rakim, Run DMC. There was a ton of stuff on there. Fresh Prince, I remember Fresh Prince. Girls of the World Ain't Nothing But Trouble was on there. So there's a lot of good tunes on there. But again, the same with that tape as well, Trevor, because them times I was living in Farndale, I knew all you lot. I had that tape in my yard and never brought it out once and played it. Never. And them times, them man were using 2 copies as well, so going back to back with the the scratching. You get me? But I was like,
show me that, my head would just gone.
Yeah, but,
You know what I mean?
but again, it was one of them situations where it was like I didn't think you would get it. It was like it's off the radio. It's like it's not the official thing. You know what I mean? It's not like it's the actual Eric B and Rakim cassette and I can take it out and there's the cover and you know what I mean? It was just a tape off the radio. So but I loved it, man. I played it back to back.
And this is the thing, this is before internet, this is before YouTube, so you couldn't get that unless you had a connection in New York or somewhere that could give you a copy. Do you know what I mean?
That's
there was
it.
no other way of actually getting hold of that tape. Do you know
That's
what I
it,
mean?
man.
So
That's
it was
it.
rare. It was like unicorn doodle, man. It was rare.
Definitely.
Seriously.
Yeah, man.
Rare
Yeah,
as
man.
hell. So if I show you this, can you see that?
Yeah. Beach Street. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man. What are your memories of Beach Street? Or how big a film was this, man, at the time?
You know what? I was intimidated by Beach Street, you know.
Really?
I was.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yo,
it was
that's
like
throwing me, man. That's throwing me. Intimidated.
I was okay. So I was more in a sense of it was raw, wasn't it? It was quite raw as a movie. You know what I mean? I'm not thinking about Wild Style. I'm not thinking about Wild Style actually.
To breakdance.
Okay, but that's what I was going to get into. So I was more breakdance. Breakdance for me, I had it on rotation, day in, day out. Do you get what I'm saying? Once I had that on video, and again, I think we was living in Heathtown them times. I watched that every single day. Every day. That was like really influential. Where Beach Street was more harder. It was more hard edged.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Growing up now, I prefer Beach Street because it's real. It's more realistic. Where, you know, with adult eyes, I can look at a film like Breakdance and I can see it's kind of corny still.
Yeah.
But when you're 7, 8, do you get what I'm saying? You like that, man.
Yeah. The soundtrack to breakdance is still fire though. Do you know what I mean? When you check it, tune for tune, it's amazing. It is amazing. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. As a kid, that breakdance was more captivating. Do you know what I mean? Because it had like, you know what I mean, Boogaloo Shrimp, Turbo doing this thing, and you know what I mean, the Tour de France, bossing them moves, and
yeah, man,
you know what I mean?
yeah, man,
I'm
with
going
the
to do that
broomstick.
Tour de France actually. What on?
Yeah. The amount of times I tried to do that dance with the broomstick, Just
Did it work?
kept on falling, man. I don't know what was going on. Tried everything, string on it and everything. Put some string on there.
The only thing I was breaking was Windstar.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I was definitely a big fan. I was more so a fan of breaking than Beat Streets. But both of them, all the movies, and anything like that. Because like you said, it wasn't that accessible. So when you had it, you consumed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there we go. Classic.
Innit?
Mm.
Yeah, what's the moves from Minati?
Yeah. Boy, sir, I just want to roll on the floor. I just roll on the floor slowly.
Twist up that ankle.
So yeah, man, like again, these type of tracks now just remind me of Goldie and Man breaking in the community centre in Heath Town. Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's still a big tune though, you know.
Big tune, man. Definitely.
Mad.
Timeless, man.
Exactly.
Timeless.
That's exactly it. Okay.
So yeah, man, we all tried the broom. The broom business with that.
To no avail. You know what I mean? So okay, let me take you to this now as a classic album.
Okay.
What can you tell me about this, bro?
Okay. To those that know, it's the Bigger and Deffer album. Like people say, oh, the bad album. It's Bigger and Deffer.
Bigger and Deffer. See,
Bigger and Deffer. Okay, so we're talking what, 80, 86, 87. This was the first like actual hip hop album I pursued. Like I think two singles came out. I Need Love was one of them, and there was another single off there. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, I need that album. And I requested it for my birthday. I think I was like, what? I was about 10 or 11. And I was like, I want that for my birthday. I got it on cassette. And I remember getting it, putting it in, and just lying on my bed. Oh, you remember like when you could open out the tape and it's got all the lyrics on it? And just lying there in my bed, just looking at the pictures, reading all the lyrics, looking at the credits, thinking, so what does my man do? So who's this end? You know what I mean? Literally just analysing all the credits. Bad album, man. It's a heavy classic album. Classic album. I'm obviously Bad. Yeah, so Bad was the single. I Need Love was also the other single, and he got enough flack for that as well. For I Need Love, you know what I mean, for a rapper to do like a straight up love song, he got a lot of flack for it. Remember, I like that song. I really liked it. What else? The Story's Over, but my rhyme ain't done. Go Cut Creator. There was enough classics up there. Hey man.
Big tune.
Ed Sneakers. Yeah man.
Nah, LL Cool J was killing it at the time.
Oh.
I mean, his whole kind of style with the candle, that was like his signature singing it.
Yeah man, yeah. So like I said, this was the first official album I had. I had mixtapes back in the day. I had, you know what I mean, other albums and whatever. But this was the first official hip hop album. It's like, I want that album.
Yeah.
You get me? Yeah, man. So yeah, this got rinsed. I'm sure it got chewed up a few times. I had to fix it.
Yo, the struggle's real with the tape, man.
The struggle was real. Yeah, man. Yeah, I could just done your whole day can be done. If that gets chewed up,
Done,
yeah,
man.
man.
Seriously. People just laugh at your walk on. It's terrible.
The skills that you learn as a child to fix a cassette. Yo, I've never been so steady-handed. Just cutting a little strip of sellotape and fixing the tape.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? And knowing you can't leave no sticky on the other side because it'll catch when you play it. You got to cut that little bit of sticky off.
Seriously, man. Kids of that generation, man. Kids of our generation would have gone into forgery and done well. You know
I'm telling you. Well, it happened. Look at bus passes. Those skills are straight transferable to the bus pass.
Day
tripper. Yeah, man. That's it. Those same skills I was using to fix a broken cassette. I was using those same skills to forge the day trippers. I actually I had the same toolkit in my little drawer in my bedroom. I had a little razor blade, a little like Stanley blade with a ruler. Cut the sellotape, fix the tape. Yeah, man. Those skills are transferable.
You know, I forgot about that, man. Forged day trippers. Oh my days.
Cut out the number 16. And then they caught on, didn't they? They caught on and they started to misalign the numbers. So like each time they'd print them, the numbers were misaligned. So you had to try and find one where the numbers would line up. So if you had like, I would check Trev and say, "Yo, Trev, you got a 16. I need a 16 and a February." Yeah, man. Look, what you got? I had a drawer full of them.
I know a man who was a dan at that, you know. My man had like a day trip that lasted about 3-4 years. It was like 3D. If you looked at the other side, it was like 3D, man. You know what I'm saying?
And if you think them times, like bus fare was 25 pence.
Yeah, man. Big 25 pence.
Yeah, man.
Hey, babe.
Nowadays, you can't even get from Farndale town for like 175.
It's just madness, mate.
Yeah, man.
Madness.
Crazy.
Boss, it's craziness. No,
So yeah, man, this album, if you haven't heard this album from start to finish for a while, it's definitely worth going to check out, man. It's a big album.
Most defs.
Yeah, man.
It's bad. So, okay, I'm going from one classic album to another. What you got to say about that? I know you're going to have a lot to say about that.
Boy.
Tell the people what that is and what that means. You know what I mean?
That's iconic right there.
Mm-hmm.
The whole, everything about that image is iconic. From the logo, the font that the group's name is in, the clock around the brother's neck in the background, the low cap and the jacket that Chuck's wearing, the lips that Chuck is pushing out, and the bars. Everything is iconic. You know what I mean? So that's, yeah, man. Yo.
Brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
This is hardcore.
Yes, the rhythm's a rebel.
Yeah, man.
Applause, I'm lowering my level. A hard rhymer, will you never be?
This is when things got serious for me. Yeah, man. This is when things got serious. So again, this was another one that I had to get. I think I heard this song, and it was like, nah, I need the album. So I got this on cassette again. Same thing. Got it on cassette. Reeled it out. Went through all the credits. The whole album from start to finish. It's just a classic. This was a game changer. This was an absolute game changer.
It was around this sort of time to me that hip hop got to a point where it started like not just being like a style and I've got this, I've got that, I've got there, blah blah blah, but actually showing people something. You know what I mean? And actually speaking up about injustices and whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was
Definitely.
I remember the first time I heard this, I was like, "What is this, man?"
Yeah, man, definitely game changer. One thing I have to say about this album, when I think back now, this was the first album. Like, obviously, the other music was influential, but when this came out, I remember having a debate with my English teacher at school. I must have been about what? I was like second year senior, sorry. So I was like 12. Yeah. And we was doing something in English, and I remember the teacher's name was Mr. Bent. It was cool still. Mr. Bent was cool, but he was an English teacher. And I remember he said something about a third world country. And I always remember on one of the things that Chuck D done, he says something about that was it. He was talking about the S01Ws, the security of the first world. Yeah. Do you get me? And he made a statement to say, because they talk about Africa like it's a third world country. We're not a third world country, it's a first world country. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like they're belittling us to a third world country. And that stuck with me. So I remember being in the class and he was talking and he must have said something. He said something and he mentioned a third world country. And I was like, Africa's not a third world country, it's a first world country. And me and him ended up having a debate. But obviously he was a big man to me. I was like 12. And my man shut me down and I was like, I wasn't having it. I was like, nah, that's this. You're being disrespectful. What makes it a third world country? Why is it a third? And me and him had a big argument, you know. And the only reference material I had was Chuck D and Public Enemy. I had no other backative. But in my heart, I knew if Chuck said it, it's right. You know what I mean? So that was the first time that I can truly look back and say hip hop influenced me like intellectually. Do you get what I'm saying? Obviously, growing up, I probably learnt words and had to go and look up things or whatever. But that album was educational. Do you get what I'm saying? And also, I think that album as well, it was from that point, I kind of made a decision. I'm going to make a conscious contribution to hip hop. Do you get what I'm saying? And it was from that album that I decided I was going to be a DJ. You know what I mean? Before that happened, obviously I had my little Pinky and Perky selection and whatever else going on. I had a few other 12 inches and 7 inches, you know. And my sister, obviously my sister was into music as well. My sister probably had more records than me at the time. I was more into cassettes. So we had music in the house, but it was from that point I made a conscious decision that I'm going to contribute to hip hop, and it's going to be as a DJ. And it was because of Terminator X. Obviously, he's a DJ of Public Enemy. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
man.
picture there, that's the most Terminator X picture I could find.
Is,
That's
yeah, man.
me,
That is overtly Terminator X.
120% Terminator X.
Yeah.
That is, man.
Yeah. So
tell the people who this is, man.
So he's a DJ for Public Enemy, the iconic DJ for Public Enemy. Now, obviously, back in those days, it was the DJ and the MC. You know what I mean? The DJ was almost like the forerunner, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. You know, obviously you had Jam Master Jay. He was all up in the forefront as well. Cash Money and Marvelous, Eric B and Rakim. You know what I mean? The DJ was at the forefront. Well, when Public Enemy came, Terminator X he was kind of in the background a little bit. You know what I mean? But when I heard that album and they had that segment, there was literally a track, Terminator X, An Hour of Chaos, or something like that, I think it was. And he was like an iconic figure. He was in the shadows, but he spoke with his hands. Do you get what I'm saying? And that was his thing. Like, I don't speak. I speak with my hands. And for me, as like, I was kind of shy coming up. Yeah, man.
Tell me the name of my DJ. 1, 2, 3. Yo, I gotta hear that one more time, man. 1, 2, 3.
Terminator X. Yeah, man.
This is where it comes to the Flash theme.
Terminator X.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yes.
So you see this? He was a core part of the group. Do you get what I'm saying? He was very much a core part of Public Enemy, but he never spoke. And he wasn't all up in the forefront. Do you get what I'm saying? But we knew who he was, we knew his name, we knew what he was about. And I was like, I'm gonna do that. I wanna do that. I wanna talk with my hands. I wanna be known for talking with my hands.
True.
You know what I mean? So
I remember you around this sort of time, man, when you had the height up just like that.
yeah, man.
You were 120% Terminator X star.
Yeah, man.
Perfect height up.
I was probably 40% Terminator X, 60% Kid and Play.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Terminator X.
Very influential. And again, at this time as well, so it was Terminator X, and at the same time, DJ Pilgrim, after Salute Pilgrim, man. You know what I mean?
Pilgrim.
Another, yeah, man. Another Wolverhampton legend. You know what I mean?
Real.
Our paths crossed, and I knew he was a DJ, and I asked him to make me a mixtape. And a week later, he handed me a mixtape. Do you get what I'm saying? And I remember just sitting there listening to it, thinking, "I'm gonna do this." You know what I mean? Again, I had the mixtape from Pilgrim. I knew him as a DJ. I got the influence of Terminator X, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to be able to make mixtapes. I want to do that. I want to be able to scratch. I want to be able to cut it up and do all that kind of stuff. So that's when the journey started.
Pilgrim's a killer as well, you know.
Yo, yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Seriously.
There weren't many people doing what he was doing back then.
Nah, not at all.
You know what I mean? There weren't many people doing what he was doing, man. And obviously, I was young then. I was like 13. So I can't say I'd heard Pilgrim play a set, because I couldn't go out them times. Do you get what I'm saying? So when I asked him for a tape and he gave me the tape, I got to experience it. You know what I mean? And yeah, man. Salute to Pilgrims. It's a legend, man. Definitely a legend.
Yeah. I remember Pilgrim playing. He was Taz Rock at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember, I'm sure he used to play at Christopher's American, man.
He probably did.
Womborne or something. And he was killing it back then. And that's when, like, I was allowed out my yard. Do you know what I mean? And we're around about the same age, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's been killing it for years, mate. He's been for decades, for absolute decades. And salute
Pilgrim, man, definitely.
Pilgrim.
You have to get him on here, man. You have to get him on here. I want to hear his backstory.
For real.
I want to hear his story, man.
I would love that. There's a load of people I'd love to get on here, man. Trust me. He's definitely one of them. Yeah. So, okay. So let's pause there. Edit this bit out. Right, okay. So let's go back to film of around about the same sort of time. How big a film was this, Tony?
It was huge. Humongous. Yo, what does Spike Lee look like? He's got lipstick on there, man. It looks like someone's made him up.
It doesn't.
No, that looks like he's got
a different
lipstick.
picture. I'll use a different picture. It does, man.
Yeah, man. Yo.
Or someone's tucked him in his mouth. Something like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. This film, again, similar to Takes a Nation of Millions, the whole thing is just iconic. The cover, the soundtrack, the characters, the whole, from top to bottom, some of the lines in there, you know, some of the dialogue, it's iconic, man. And again, I was probably when I first saw Do the Right Thing, I was probably about, again, 13, 14. And seeing that film, for me, it was just like I could relate because I'd been to Brooklyn. So I'm seeing what I've seen. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm seeing it depicted in the film, and it touched my heart. 'Cause it was like, I've seen houses like that. I've seen those water hydrants. I've experienced what's happening. I've experienced that firsthand. Do you get what I'm saying? So it brought back a lot of memories. And also, I'm sure the same year that came out, I actually went back to New York that summer and spent the summer holidays out there. So it all kind of gelled together at that time in my life. But yeah, man, this film was definitely, for me, it's one of those movies where I'd watch it. I'd just have it on just all the time. It's just on in the house. So it's a big movie, man. Definitely a big movie.
It was one of those things because it was like a film about kind of like tension in a borough in Brooklyn, in Bed-Stuy. You know what I mean? And tension between like the black people in that borough and the Italians in that borough and that sort of
the
thing.
Koreans.
But it wasn't just that as well. The kind of whole, how the film looked, how people dressed, the style, the dialogue, how people interacted. It was sick, man. Like you say, it's iconic.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You know what, as well, though? It was ahead of its time as well, because when you think, I mean, it even deals with issues like gentrification. You know, that scene where Boogie Nuts, he's talking to the guys and whatever, and the guy bunks past him on his bike and scuffs his Air Jordans. You know what I mean? And he's like, yo, man, you know what I mean? You tried my brand new Air Jordans that I just bought. And he's like, oh, sorry. So you mean, sorry, man, I should beat you up. So anyway, the whole scene pans out and he's saying, you know, how come you living in my neighborhood anyway? And he's like, oh, I own his brownstone. He was like, you know what I mean? White guys moved to the neighborhood and bought the whole 3-story house in the neighborhood. Them guys are probably renting a little apartment somewhere. Do you know what I'm saying? My man owns a whole house. So that kind of pointed towards the start of gentrification in Brooklyn and obviously New York. And you look at it now, you know, where places like Brooklyn and other places used to be frowned upon and, you know, people would not want to live there. You know what I mean? Them houses are going for millions and millions of pounds or dollars, I should say. You know, it's a different place now.
Yeah. It's interesting as well. I've seen similar in Brixton too. I was down Brixton last year. And I was walking down the high street and there's people sitting down there drinking champagne and eating cheese. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I went last year.
15 years since I've been to Brixton, and then I saw that. I was like, wow.
I went to an event at the hip hop chip shop, and we stopped off at the Brixton Village for some food, and we got there. It must have been about, it was like after 10, easily after 10, something to 11. There was a sound system set up, playing music after 10 p.m. in Brixton, and I thought this could not have happened legally before. Do you get what I'm saying? But now it's gentrified. It's like, it's almost like they've taken elements of the culture that they like, because the person playing the sound wasn't a black man. Let's just say that it wasn't a black man playing the sound. You know what I mean? Obviously, he's got his role. He's obviously got his license to play that sound there. Do you get what I'm saying? It just was just like, wow, this couldn't have happened 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Without it being shut down. But now it's been, that's it. That's it. But now it's trendy and it's, you know, it's popular. We like that part of the culture. We'll have that, and we'll have that. Thank you, and we'll enjoy it. But don't you go and run no music down the road in your own block. Do you get what I'm saying? Because we'll come and shut you down. So, but yeah, man, it was unrecognizable. the way they sort of done it. all
Yeah,
out.
I have to say that did surprise me, man, because that wasn't what I was expecting on the high street. You know, it wasn't the last time I went down the high street. I didn't see that. People drinking champers, you know. I mean, I was thinking,
Cheese board.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, some smelly cheese and thing. You know what I mean?
So yeah, man.
Changes, progress, I guess. So let's talk about this. How big a thing was this? So obviously, like I said, we're talking about music, we're talking about film, but also the influences of TV. And in the 80s, 90s, MTV was a massive influence on the youth then. So the music video, the power of the music video to sell more music and get people, tell a story of what the actual music is about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The music video, I don't think music video has that same kind of pull anymore.
No.
Do you know what I mean? What would you say? That's just my take. What would you say about that?
Yeah. I think it's become normalized now. And we've kind of seen it all before. Do you know what I'm saying? We're so exposed to
desensitized to it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's everywhere. You know what I mean? It's everywhere that, you know, we just live in a global community now. So nothing shocks us and nothing's new. Where with something like MTV Raps, obviously we're kind of moving into the 90s now. So that saw Sky TV. You know what I mean? A couple of us started getting Sky TV in our yard. And with Sky TV came MTV. And with MTV came MTV Raps. Do you get what I'm saying? So that, again, gave you a window into what's going on the ground in New York, in, you know, LA, wherever the hip hop's coming from. It gave you a visual window to look and see. You know what I mean? That's what those videos done. You know what I mean? And obviously the guys that hosted at the time, so you had Fab Five Freddy, you had Ed Lover and Dr. Dre. And for those that don't know, not that Dr. Dre, the other Dr. Dre, go and look him up. Ed Lover and Dr. Dre, Fab Five Freddy. Who's the other guy as well? T Money. Remember T Money? It was like that.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. So those guys hosted it. So, you know, the show would start and they had the deck set up and they'd always be cutting it up, or Ed Lover would be freestyling. It was just raw hip hop. You know what I mean? And then boom, before you know it, Big Daddy Kane just walks on and starts, you know what I mean, he's the guest, so they're interviewing him and he's just freestyling, or Mary J. Blige and Grand Pooba are there doing a set. And then in between all of that, you got the videos running. So yeah, man. So yeah, man, it was a window into what was going on. So the same way I went about with the hip hop cassettes, I taped every episode of Yo MTV Raps. And then it got to the point where it's like, okay,
Have you still got them?
you know what? My sister's bad, you know. My sister don't keep nothing. She throws everything away. Like my sister's she's got this mentality. If you ain't used it for 6 months, it's going in the bin.
Coronation Street.
Yeah, so in the bin. So she may have thrown it away. There may be a VHS somewhere at my mum's, probably one. But I had like a whole rack of videos. Like that, I was like the plug. You know what I'm saying? I had Sky TV, so boom, I'm taping MTV Raps. I knew it came on a Tuesday at such and such time. Boom, recording it. And it got to the point where it was almost like I was video DJing, because I would then start to select. So I'd record a video. If I didn't like it, I'd say, you know what, now that's whack. I'd rewind the tape, stop it when the last video ended, and then wait for the next one to come on, record that. Yeah, man, that's a bang. I'm keeping that one. So I basically had like a compilation tape of videos. And then, you know what I mean, we'd like go and sit down in people's yard. I'd bring my video, put the video in, and we'd sit there and just watch it and do whatever we was doing them times.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it was definitely
Like a video mixtape.
yeah, man. Yeah. And then that obviously helped me in terms of when I was buying music. You know what I mean? It was like, that was my source. If it's busting on Yo MTV Raps, I'm then going to go and find that record or find that artist. So I go to Ruby Reds and go, yo, you know about Outkast? Yo, order Outkast. I would tell them what to order. You know what I mean? I remember seeing Snoop Dogg on there, and I remember going to, I can't remember, it was either Tempest in Birmingham or somewhere now. I ordered the album, and the guy had never heard of him. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, man, he ordered it for me. I was one of the first people to play Snoop Dogg in Wolverhampton. Do you know what I mean? So yep, even this, I remember seeing this video and I was like,
Yes. How big was this video?
It was big.
Buckshot Shorty.
It was
Talk to
big.
the people. Who's
Yeah,
this?
man. This is Black Moon. Evil D was a DJ. Buckshot Shorty and 5FT. Yeah, man, this was a game changer. Again, I remember hearing this and I was like, Ruby Reds, straight to Ruby Reds. Yo, who got the props? Black Moon, you got Black Moon.
Do not pass go. Do not electronic, man.
Yeah, man. I'm pressing them. Yeah, you need to get it, man. I need it. So, them times Trixie used to work at Ruby Reds. So I'd come in with my list. I was like, yo, Trixie.
That's another man I love to
Yeah, man. I'd go in there with my list. Well, he was up on game as well. So there's times where he would say, "Yo, Friction, I've got this put down for you," and he would have stuff put down for me. You know what I mean? And there's times where I'll be like, "Yo, get this, and this, order this." So yeah, man, we had a little relationship. So yeah, man, this is a big tune. This was
Big, very, very big.
big tune.
So around at this sort of time, we're into the 90s, into the golden era.
Yeah, man.
So you started buying tunes by the sound of it. So
Yeah.
had you started playing that by then, or?
Yeah, man. Yo, by the time that came, I was in my prime. That was like I was on it then. I was on it. So I had my decks in my bedroom. I was playing at like youth club dances then. That was our main sort of outlets was the youth club dances, because obviously them times the youth centres were thriving. Do you know what I'm saying? Every area had a youth centre. So
Yeah.
that was actually where I first started DJing officially, was in a youth club. Heathtown Community Centre, again, the same place where I'd see Goldie and them lot breakdance. I started going back there. Obviously, I moved to Farndale by then, but I started going back there. Anytime youth club was on, so it was like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, go back there. And it had a DJ setup, which I actually headed up the youth forum to apply for the money to buy the equipment. I think we got like a grant for like £500 or something. So we got the equipment, and yeah, man, that was it. We started DJing. So everyone tried their hand at it. Only a few remained. You know
Some people's hand was a bit heavy. So
yeah, man. Some people just, you know what I mean, they'd have a go and it's like, no, I'm more for the dance floor, or I'm more for the MC. And so certain man went on the mic, you get me? So yeah, that's where it all started. In terms of actually hands-on, having 2 decks and a mixer, it started in Heathtown Community Centre. Wow. And then that kind of rolled out. So other youth clubs started getting decks as well. And then that saw the advent of like youth club dances. So every Friday, one youth club was having a dance. You know what I mean? Whether it was Dungeon, whether it was All Saints, Springfield, then later on, you know, Gatey Street. And that was our main outlet. Do you get what I'm saying? We knew we could always play at the youth club dances. So yeah, man. Yeah. So them times, yeah, I was fully DJing.
Wicked.
Fully.
So is that where you actually learned to DJ at the youth club, or did you have your own kit and learn there at home and then?
It kind of happened at the same time. So, in terms of like first time touching turntables, 2 decks and a mixer, I would say it was at the youth club. But then if that was say the summer of that year, come that Christmas, I knew I'm looking some decks and a mixer for Christmas.
Yeah. You got the bug. You just got the bug.
I got the bug. So I had these grandiose dreams of having 2 Technics and a, you know what I mean, and a mixer.
What actually happened?
Yeah. Well, when I realised the price, I went. Remember BT's? I had a Technic shop in BT's. So I must have took my mum to BT's, and I was like, "These are the turntables I want." My mum looked at the turntable; it's like £500 and something. She's like, "Are you mad? It's more than my car." She was like, "Are you nuts? There's no way." And you want 2, not even 1. So yeah, that kind of humbled me. I was like, okay, I'm not getting no Technics then. So Christmas come now, and you remember the second-hand stereo shop on the bottom of Walden Road and Springfield Road, yeah. So that's where I ended up shopping. I went there, and I had like a big old hefty AOA turntable on the right side, and I had one. It looked like I don't know if it was Technics. It was silver, and it had an S arm, so it was kind of like a Technics, but it was a belt drive. And obviously it's a secondhand shop. The belt drive was worn out, man. It was in a bad state, but it looked the part. So I had one of it that was really a real heavy platter, and you had to push it to get a little kick on it, or else it would just start really slow. And then this one, because the belt was weak, you get me, had to kind of take time holding it, and then just give it a little kick when you push it. And then obviously I had the realistic mixer, so from Tandy.
That we don't speak about.
So for those that know, Tandy was in the Manda Centre. That was the go-to place for your stereo equipment, and they had their own range called Realistic. He wasn't the best quality mixer in the world, but it worked. He had 2 channels and a crossfade. That's all I needed them times.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Once I got that, I was missing. No one was seeing me. I came off road. You get me? I was in my yard. And one thing I have to say, I know my parents were happy because it kept me off the streets. You get what I'm saying? I was in my bedroom, locked, door shut, and I'm just practicing, blending, learning how to blend, learning how, how to match the BPMs, making a whole ton of mistakes, trying to do remixes, making a mixtape for myself. No one ain't hearing this. This is for me. I want to hear it. Making a mixtape. And then when I'm going on the bus to Heathtown, I've got 2 buses to catch to Heathtown. I'm listening to the tape. I'm analysing it, thinking, nah, that was whack. That was, I didn't like that. So yeah, man, from say, I was 14 then. I was 14, yeah. So I got my first decks and mixer at 14. Yeah. And that's when I became, my first DJ name was DJ Tony B.
Yeah.
Talk to me. Yo, I'm DJ Tony B. That's as far as my my creativity stretched at the time.
Yeah, man. Short
I mean, you look at my name now. It's like I'm Tony Brown. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I started off with DJ Tony B. And that quickly got changed. So yeah.
That's like what's it called? Like, was it Cherry B?
Cherry B. Derek B.
Derek B. That's what Eric B, Derek B, Tony B. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. Man.
So, obviously, this is before. It's before internet, before YouTube. So, how did you actually sort of learn? Do you know what I mean? How did you? Is it just trial and error thing, or did you have like, guidance from somebody you could kind of?
You know what? I think. I mean, thinking back to having those mixtapes at 7. You know what I mean? Having those tapes at 10. You know what I mean? Having those experiences, I kind of just knew what I needed to do. Do you get what I'm saying? But in terms of actually hands-on,
sounded like,
yeah, man, I knew what sounded good. Yeah, I knew what sounded good, what sounded trash. So it was just working out, okay, how do I make that blend with that? And I just learned the fundamentals very quickly. Like, don't try and force it. If that's too fast for that, them two shouldn't go together. So don't even try and force it. Like, so even now, like, I'll hear DJs now and they're trying to mix a 70 BPM tune with 120 BPM tune, and they just turn that pitch all the way down, turn that one all the way up. Do you get what I'm saying? They're not meant to go together. They're just not meant to go together. 2 totally different BPMs. So I learned very quickly, okay, they've almost got to already be similar. You know what I mean? It's got to have a similar vibe, a similar BPM, similar tempo. You know what I mean? I learned that very quickly. And then I got into like, obviously, them times you'd buy a 12-inch, you'd have the acapella on it. So you'd have the instrumental and the acapella. So I started doing like remixes. So I'd say, okay, then I know that goes with that. So I can play the acapella on that instrumental. So then I'd practice doing that and working out when to drop it, you know what I mean? And make it run and do my little remixes and that. So
drop it on the one.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I spent hours and hours and hours in my bedroom. So again, yeah, that was 14. By the time I was 15, salute DJ Hype. Obviously, me and Hype kind of started DJing at the same time.
Hype.
Yeah, man. By the time I got to 15, Hype got a slot on Frontline Radio. And that was he'd made it. To us as a youth, you know what I mean? Hearing the radio, like Skyline, Frontline, them man were big time DJs. So I remember we met up in town one Saturday and Hype was like, yo, I got a show on Frontline. I was like, for real? He was like, yeah, man, I got a show on Frontline. I start next Saturday. I was like, nah. So I tuned in. So Saturday morning, it was like 10 o'clock. Saturday morning, boom, Hype's on the radio. I was like, why man's on the radio? Like, he's made it. Why man's on the radio playing hip hop in my room? Like, I could hear, I'm tuned in and I'm here. I thought, nah. So then we met up again sometime in town. We met up that same week. And I was like, yeah, man, I heard the show, man. He was like, yeah, man, yo, it was this, it was that, it was this, it was that. And he said, yo, you want to come on? I was like, yeah, of course I do. You get me? So I went on with him the next week. Now, in my mind, I've got like these visions of, you know, my proper studio setup, Chris, mixing desk, board, you get me, glass windows, soundproof, everything. Yeah. So we basically went
on air light.
On air, yeah, man. Yeah, man. No, sir. No. It was such an anticlimax. It was unbelievable. Like, it was ridiculously ghetto. Like, you see, if I made a film, right? You see this scene, people would think I'm exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. I'm gonna make a film one day, and I'm gonna do this scene. So we got in a lift. We got to Heath Town. I got my records in my rucksack. We're getting a lift at, I think it was Alder House. Went to like the 17th floor in Alder House, right to the top. Knock, 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 knock. One old woman opened the door. Like, okay. I thought we were going to link someone and they're going to take us to the studio. No, this is the studio. So we got in there now. And we went to the room at the back. It was like the living room off the hallway. And it was just like, literally on the floor, there was 6 milk crates on the floor, stacked 2 high, 2 that side for that deck, 2 in the middle for the mixer, and 2 on that side for the other deck. And these were some straight arm turntables off your hi-fi. I'm talking, my decks at home are better than this.
Oh, Lord.
You know, the proper, if you press it, it wobbles like that. And it's just a straight arm turntable. And I was just like, not even a chair in the, so you've got 2 other crates to sit on as well. So you're sitting on a crate, you got a crate there with that turntable on it, a crate there, and then the mixer in the middle, and some old bus-up mic with the sock on it or something. It was so ghetto.
Tights. Do-rag.
The blanket in the window to, no curtain, just like a blanket in the window. And there was just like all these signs on the wall. So it was like, you know, you got your cassette deck to run your adverts on. The phone's there. I didn't even know how to answer the phone. You know what I mean? If someone phoned in, I was just like, oh, like, you know what I mean? It was ghetto, man. Proper ghetto. But we loved it, man. And people loved the show. You know what I mean? People were phoning in. When we went to town, like, once it got popular and people knew about it, yo, we were celebrities, man. We were like some young celebrities. We had the hip hop show in Wolverhampton. No one else was really playing hip hop on the radio. Do you get what I'm saying?
What tunes were you playing then? What sort of tunes?
What we had. So, I mean, I know Hype was into like, Hype actually got banned off that radio station as well.
What, too much cussing?
He got kicked off for playing the 2 Live Crew.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. What time was the show? What time was the show?
It was Saturday morning. This was like, like 10 till 12 or something like that. Or 12 till 2. I can't remember. Wow. But it was an early show. And yeah, man, Hype got kicked off for playing the 2 Live Crew. But we played what we had. So, you know what I mean? I think them times we had like, obviously, Public Enemy, Ice Cube. What else? Above the Law. I remember we had Above the Law.
Yeah.
Digital Underground. I had Digital Underground album.
Wow. Humpty Dance and all that.
Yeah, man, Humpty Dance. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, at them time, I probably had about 15, 20 records at that stage. I never had a huge selection, but we made it work. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? And people loved it, man. So
wicked. So that was the start of you playing out.
That was my introduction to radio, definitely.
Yeah, man, into radio. Amazing. Yeah, and how old were you? 14?
I was like 14, 14 or 15.
Wicked.
Yeah, man. And again, thinking about it, I never even thought like, this is a pirate radio, this is illegal. Like, you're breaking the law. It didn't even register. The thought didn't even cross my mind. It was only when we went to our first staff meeting or radio station meeting, and then you're seeing all the DJs then, because obviously, you know, you go there, you do your show, you go, but that's where you'd see like, oh, that's Lover's Doctor. Oh, that's Rennie Ranks. Oh, that's, you get to actually see who these DJs are. I remember sitting there thinking, right, I remember listening to him when I was like 10 or 8. You know what I mean? Banton B, that's Banton B, like, right, that's Banton B.
Yeah.
Lover's Doctor.
It's an institution, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
It's like, you know what I mean? Pirate radio stations like Skyline, Frontline, you know what I mean? Underground a bit later. The institutions, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wicked, absolutely wicked.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, man, I was on radio from early, man. But I loved it. I loved it. One thing I struggled with though was the talking. Like I said, the Terminator X in me, I wanted to speak with my hands. I just wanted to come on and do my mix. I was like a mixtape DJ. I wasn't a presenter. I never became a presenter till late. I mean, you mentioned Underground. Obviously, Underground was like late 90s, like 99.
Yeah. But
no, actually, yeah, you're right. Like 96, 97. And even then, I wasn't very confident on the mic. I didn't present my show. To me, it was like, I'm just a mixtape DJ. I'm just chopping it up. And, you know, I mean, obviously you guys came on and added the voice to the show. I didn't start really presenting until late, like very late. So yeah, man.
No, it's wicked. So going from there, so playing on the radio, do you think that gave you more exposure to go and do different things?
Yeah, I mean, again, them times we were spoilt, man. We were definitely spoilt because, like I said, you had all the youth club dances. So myself and Hype, and obviously others were doing their things. There was other young DJs around as well at the time. It wasn't just us, but we were like I was like the main hip hop DJ in Wolverhampton. Hype kind of ventured later on more towards like a mixed bag. He started playing reggae and dancehall and everything. He played everything. But that, like being on the radio, and you know, kind of having a little name for ourselves, it kind of created a little bit of a demand. So anytime there was a youth club dance, I knew I could put my rucksack on, go to that dance and just stand up in the corner. And before you know it, yo, you're playing tonight. And I'd say to them, go and ask, whoever was promoting it or whoever was in charge, go and ask them. That was my little marketing thing. It was like, go and create the demand. I'm not asking to play. I'm not asking to play. Like, you can see me standing here. Everyone can see me standing here. I got my records with me. And we get to the point where it was like, the man, yo, he'd call me over. You want to play? I was like, yeah, man. About time you asked. Like, I've been here for 30 minutes and I've heard mine and he ain't that good. So yes, I will play.
And then just mash it up.
Bust up the place. Because obviously not many people were playing hip hop then. Do you get what I'm saying? It was more of a sound thing. So I became like the hip hop, the guy who plays the hip hop at those dances. So yeah, man. So again, like I said, Springfield, All Saints. I got a lot of good memories about Springfield, All Saints, Dungeon. That was our main place. Later on, Gateish Street. We've done a few dances at the Molyneux as well. So we were spoilt, man.
Molyneux was big, man. Molyneux is an amazing place.
Man, that was a great venue.
Yeah, big loss that was. Wicked.
Definitely.
Because I think back then as well, like all people from different areas always mixed. We always moved together as Wolverhampton rather than like an area. Do you know what I mean? It was different.
That's one thing that Molyneux kind of done because it was the first kind of central youth centre. So we all had our local youth centres. You know, you could go to the Dungeon in Heathtown, you could go to Gateish Street or Dunstall Youth Club. You could go to All Saints, and it was all localised. Molyneux was the first kind of central where you could go there, and if you was into basketball, you're going to meet everyone else from Wolverhampton who's interested in basketball. If you're into music, you got a little studio in the corner, you're going to meet everybody from Wolverhampton who's into music. So it became kind of that central hub. So yeah, man.
Talking about basketball, remember the basketball team? We had the basketball team.
Yeah, man.
We played in the
police.
The kit. Yeah. You got that up, man.
Whoa. They set us up, man. They set us up to fail.
That's bad, man.
A bunch of young black kids from Wolves playing the police, adults.
Police. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it was
seriously bad. Some big gorilla dudes as well. Do you know what I mean? It was shocking. But remember that kit though? Because they came out with they got the vests, man. And they had some shorts were like this. Like, oh, what's up? Batty Rider shorts.
I was probably alright because I was little them times, so it probably fit me. It's perfect for me.
That was a little bit. Never mind anything else. Smaller than brief.
Dear.
Funny,
yeah, man. The other thing as well, them times as well was, do you remember when Fatted was doing the Dance Energy dances?
Yes.
So obviously, like them times, that was a big deal as well, man. You know, to have throughout the summer holiday period, I think it was every Tuesday night, starting from when I'm saying probably 92, because I just left school. I left school 92, and the first one he done was at Palomas. And again, I was like one of the headline. Yeah, man. I was one of the headline DJs there. I felt like a celebrity, man. Do you get what I'm saying? To know that I'm playing at a big man club, like to me, that was we've gone past youth clubs now. I'm now playing at this big event It's in the town centre, and the whole of Wolves is going to be there. Do you get what I'm saying? It was a big deal for us, man. It was a big deal. So again, salute to Fathead, man, because he really made opportunities for us to experience those things, you know, to play in a big hall with the sound system, with Technics decks as well. You get what I'm saying? Everyone's there, and it was a vibe, man. It was definitely a great experience.
Yeah, yeah. I remember those events fondly, man. Do you know what I mean? It was just a nice vibe, amazing music. Everyone just getting on, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Everyone just raving. And I mean, the building itself, Palomas, man, that's like, that has its own history itself with moving on from doing that dance energy and like Quest, famous nights like that there. Do you know what I mean? It's
and obviously Sam Sharp being downstairs as well.
Downstairs, yeah, man,
you know what I mean?
man,
Salute Dread Lester, R.I.P. man.
Rest in peace, man.
He's another one as well in terms of, you know, those who inspired me and pushed me. He was definitely core to that, man. He was definitely inspirational. So yeah, so from Palomas, playing at Palomas, and then I think he'd done that for 1 year, so that was 92. That went well, and he must have got more funding. So obviously, them times he was in the youth service, got more funding. So the next year he was at Wolfram. Remember?
Yes.
So I went from playing at Palomas to now playing at Wolfram Hall every week for 6 weeks at Wolfram Hall. Do you get what I'm saying? To the whole of Wolverhampton, and Dudley used to come, Birmingham would come down, West Bromwich would come. People would travel from London. Do you get what I'm saying? And stay with their cousins to come to those dances. And then it went from Wolfram to then, as years went on, to being at Civic. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'd say by like 95, 96, it was at Civic. You know what I mean? So to play at Civic Hall at like, them times I was like 16, 17, playing every week at Civic Hall, you know what I mean? Hundreds of kids. It definitely prepared me for going on to other things, you know, to playing at Carnival, you know, Birmingham Carnival and them places.
Now you're talking as well, mate. Carnival. Do you know what I mean? Because back in those days, like, Wolverhampton was live. People may not believe that, but in that era, Wolverhampton was. People would come into Wolverhampton for a night out for entertainment. Friday, Saturday night was chock-a-block. I remember where we lived on Farndale, the 535 bus used to stop outside the petrol station. 8:30 or whatever time. 25 to 9 used to come, man. 25 to on the hour. And it was ram up into town. You know what I mean?
From console.
Steamed up.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Every week guaranteed. Do you know what I mean?
Man. Yeah, if I seen a bus like that, I wouldn't get on it. I'd be like, I don't want to go on that bus, man. It's too much. It's too much on that bus.
Everyone's right, God's gone and left. You know what I mean?
That's it.
Yeah. Okay, moving on from there, then that gave you the opportunity to go and play at Birmingham Carnival and stuff, right? So tell me about that. What sort of experiences you had there? What memories?
So I'm trying to remember what year it was. It's got to be 93, like 93, 94. I played both years, but I'm trying to think of the year that really shook me was it was probably 93. And I just remember Fathead went there with Motivate Sound. Now, obviously, Motivate, they had a massive sound, big boxes. You get me? Proper official sound system. And I just remember they had a lorry with the side taken off. So we had like a stage, and the decks were set up on the stage. And where he'd parked where he'd set up the sound, there was like a hill, so it went down. So like we was up on the top of the hill on a truck, and it just was like a big, like a dome, like a bowl kind of thing. And I remember, obviously, I went there with them lot, took my record box, and them times I had tune by then. By then, I had tune. Do you get what I'm saying? Whatever was cracking, I had it. And I just remember my time came to play, and I looked out at the audience, and I was like, this can go one of two ways. It can go very bad or very good. And I think I can't remember what the first tune I played. I was like 15. Do you get what I'm saying? I was like 15 years old, but I was confident. I was confident in the sense of I know what I'm doing, but this is the biggest audience I've ever played to, because there was like easily, again, in my eyes, there was about 2,000 people out there. It was ram. And obviously, because we had a big sound, that drew a big crowd. And because of how it was situated, I just remember looking out and just seeing a sea of people. So I knew I had to come correct. So there was no warms in, it was straight in. Do you get what I'm saying? I started off with a smasher, and I just saw the man them. I just saw the hip hop heads. It was like they knew, okay, it's our time now. So the dreads and the older man, they moved and they just yeah, man. I don't even remember what it was. I don't remember the first tune I played, but I do remember playing "Throw Your Guns in the Air" by Onyx.
Lord.
You see, when I played that, it was like everyone's hip hop ears in the whole of Handsworth Park pricked up, and it just got ram. And I was just like, look at this crowd, like, and they loved everything I'd done. They loved everything I played. And it was just like, for me, it was that affirmation, like, you're doing the right thing. You've been playing in little Wolverhampton at these little youth club dances for all these years, hoping that people get it, where now this is your first opportunity outside of Wolverhampton, outside of the safety of your youth club. This is like the spotlight now. When I played this,
Worried.
it was madness, chaos. To the point where I remember Fatid going, yo, no man, what if we cool down, man? And he tried to stop it, he was like, no, what if we calm down, man, calm down? And I was like, yo, this is right, this is how it's meant to go. Man, I'm meant to be getting kin over like that, that's right.
Oh my God.
And then obviously after this I played Slam.
Oh.
It was crazy. But again, for me, in all the places I've played and all the places I've been, that is the most memorable, because it was the first time I'd played outside of Wolves to such a big audience and had that, like, I smashed it to bits, to get what I'm saying. And I know there are people in Birmingham who talk about that day. They don't know me. They don't know it was me that was playing, but they will talk about that day. Yo, you remember that carnival where that you was playing Slam and Throw Your Guns in the Air? Yo, it was madness. So
I know it because I was there, mate.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man.
I'm glad I was on the stage. I would dread to be in that crowd because it was mayhem.
It was going off, man. Off.
It was mayhem.
Absolutely mad.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely mad.
And them times, you think about it, the hip hop of that day, it was hard music. You know what I mean? It was hardcore. Like, everyone was like,
it was no polka dots and
No,
like, you
man.
know what I mean, ballet shoes
Yeah,
and all
man.
them thing. That done, man. It was all hoodie
Hardcore.
backpacks.
that's
You
it.
know what I mean?
That's
East
it, man.
Coast stomp some of this business, man. He was crazy. Crazy,
man.
that done.
So those 2 years I played at Carnival, that was definitely a milestone for me. I always think back to that day, man. And again, just being young and having the opportunity to do that, it was a good opportunity, man. Definitely.
Yeah. So music around that time, you mentioned Onyx. So what sort of, did you go to any gigs around that sort of time?
Oh.
So you've seen Onyx live, right? Tell me about that.
You tell me about it. I'm still taking ibuprofen today because I got a back brace and a hot water bottle down there, man. You joking? If I sit too long in this chair, I'm like, yeah, man. The Onyx concert, man. Yo, again, that was chaos.
Oh my God.
You know,
I don't understand, how times have changed where you can go to a gig now, right? A man's playing tune and people are just literally killing each other over. And it's cool. People you don't know, just dash
man.
somebody on the ground and they're like, yes, I respect. That was
Yeah,
a good
man.
one. Do you know what I mean? Everyone was just cool.
It was almost like hip hop's version of thrash metal.
Yeah,
That madness where them and like and fighting and all that. It was like that. It was absolute chaos, but that was part of it. It was just that was the vibe. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, Onyx at Q Club in Birmingham. You know what I mean? We all went there and it was a vibe, man. It was
different, man. You had to have cardio, boy, them days.
I'm telling you. I remember once, this was like the pre-show warm-up. The DJ was just playing. And I just remember there was a bit of a mosh pit. And I remember at one point, my feet went from under me. And when everything goes in slow motion, it was like my feet were going and I was going. It was like, Tony, you're going down. Get straight back up. As soon as you feel the ground, get straight back up. And I just went, boom. It was like, boom.
There's like some Dracula thing.
Yeah, man. As I hit the ground, because I knew if I stay down there, I'm dead.
Done, man. Done.
Because it was every man for himself, man.
You done, mate. They're not going to find you. They're not even going to find you to the end.
No,
you know
man.
What I mean?
You're going to come out like a piece of paper.
Flat and dirty. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
shoe marks across your jaw. Do you know what I mean?
So yeah, man. Them days. So yeah, the Onyx concerts. Who else? I remember going to see Leaders of the New School at the Hummingbird early. Like that was about 92. I was still at school. I think I was at school or college. So 92 went to go and see Leaders of the New School at Hummingbird. Did you come with us when we went to watch Redman and Das Effects at the Porsche Club in Birmingham?
Yes.
Again, that was just like the rawest of the rawest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The stage was about this high.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
The stage was literally like, yeah,
It
man.
was a step. We're just on a step.
That's
right?
it. Hurricane G got booed off.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
They weren't
Redman's
having that
sister.
off flow style. No one was hearing it. Birmingham wasn't having it, you know.
There wasn't having it. But when you think about it, she had a style. She had a style still after Rater still because she had a style. So she was like, "Yo, dun, dun," and man was like, "What? You can't flow on the boo." And Redman was vexed. Redman was like, "Yo, F y'all, man. This is my sister." Yo, he was cussing people.
Stink, man.
Yeah, man. And then there was that group, the Hood Rats. They were supporting. You remember? And when they threw out the tape in the audience, so they had some promo cassettes. They threw one out and just went, psh.
Yeah.
Someone got licked in their head with a cassette tape, and it just shattered. Yeah, man. So there was that. Who else did we go and see?
If you bootleg, you get your leg broke.
Yeah, man.
That was it, innit?
Yeah. So yeah, man, definitely some
Caught the tape in the forehead. Bad
some
times.
good days, man.
Bad times. So so at these times now, you're a fully fledged DJ, doing your thing. Where do you go from there? What's the next step?
So, let me think. I'll tell you where I went. I went to America. I moved to America. So 1994, I was 17 and I had an opportunity to go to America and I took it. I just went, you know what I mean? And my plan, I think my plan and my parents' plan were two different plans. So my parents' plan was Tony's getting himself in trouble. We need to get rid of him.
For sure. What kind of trouble?
I don't want to go there, man, but
Oh Lord.
let's just say, you know what I mean? I used to drive from early and,
Oh, seeing. Right.
you know, carrying that big old record box got a bit tiresome, man. So, you know what I mean? Any opportunity came. If someone had a car, I'm driving it. And that's just how it was. You know what I mean? I got my license. Yeah, man, I can drive. That's my license. I can drive to get me. So from like 15, 16, I was driving up and down, man. I was very naughty. So yeah, you know, the opportunity came for me to go. So it was around May 94 and I dipped off to America. Spent about 6 months out there in Florida. And that's when I kind of, you know, because I was away from everything. I was away from my turntables. I was away from all my friends. I was away from everything. And I just had a time to kind of reflect on what am I doing? I'm 17. I had my 18th birthday out there as well. And I was like, I'm going to be 18. What am I really doing? I got kicked out of college. I was smoking weed. I was just getting in trouble. You know, the only thing I had that was positive really in my life was the music. And I just remember being out there and seeing people my age doing things that I didn't think people my age could do. Do you get what I'm saying? So, you know, they were talking. I remember when I went out there, the people that I was knocking heads with, they'd just left high school and they were looking to go to college. And they were talking about, yo, this person's going to Atlanta. This person's got a scholarship to go and play football for, you know, he's going to play for the Atlanta Hawks. You know what I mean? As he had been drafted by them and he was going to go and play college at Atlanta. There was this one youth, he was the same age as me. He was like 18. And mum was pushing a Honda Accord with gold rims and gold trims. And I was looking and I was like, my man's car's better than my dad's. Like, and he's my age. Do you get what I'm saying? It was just like, it exposed me to another level of aspiration and ambition. Do you get what I'm saying? I just remember just having that moment of just awareness, like, you're on the wrong path, man. You got kicked out of college. You ain't got no GCSEs. You're just bunning weed. You ain't doing nothing. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, sort yourself out. So again, like, my plan was to go out there and earn a little money because my uncle had the clothes shop. So we had the clothes shop in New York and the one in Florida. So I went to Florida and I ended up running that shop in Fort Lauderdale for 6 months. And again, that just kind of exposed me to entrepreneurialism. Do you get what I'm saying? Being a businessman, knowing the hustle of running a business, you get me? Business wasn't going great and dodging this creditor and don't answer the phone if these people phone, and you get me? Going and buying clothes from like the local warehouse, or him bringing stuff back from Manhattan and then dressing the window. Do you get what I'm saying? And promoting the shop and all that kind of stuff. So it exposed me to that. So when I came back to the UK, I came back determined, like, I'm going to do something with myself. At that time, the only thing I knew was get a job and make some money. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm done with the roads. I'm just going to come back and get a job. That was the main thing I wanted to do, so I could have a regular stream of income. So that's when I got that dead end job working in that factory. But it allowed me to make a bit of money, so I could invest in some equipment. I could buy my records, and I could get serious about pursuing my musical endeavors. Do you get what I'm saying? So I was 18 then. By the time I came back, I was 18. And I came back with a real seriousness. And that's when I came back, that's when I set up everything in my mom's garage. So that's where Friction's Garage came from.
Legendary.
So, yeah, because I was working, do you get what I'm saying? I was 18, I was working. So as soon as I looked 18, the first thing I'd done was got a credit card. That was the first thing I'd done. I was like, can I get a credit card? He was like, yes, you can. I was like, thank you very much. What's my limit? £1,200. Right. 2 turntables, 2 Technics turntables, maxed out the first purchase, just maxed out the credit card. You get me? Spent the rest of my teenage years or later years paying that off. So yeah, man, I set up my sets in the garage. And that's where that all started. And obviously
So
you're very familiar with
about
familiar
your
about
garage.
that.
Yes, I am very, very familiar with your garage. I spent many an evening, many a Friday and a Saturday and in the week in your garage, mate. And trust me, I think most people that have had anything to do with hip hop in Wolverhampton and further afield across the UK probably passed through your garage at one point or time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
And that's it. I mean,
crazy.
It started off just for me. It was just like, you know, I don't want to set up in my bedroom. I want it in the garage, just so it's more official. Like I go there and do my music, and then I go to my bed.
And they come out, yeah.
You get me? So
entity itself, yeah.
And then also knowing, you know, potentially people are going to be coming round to do some MCing or to whatever. You get me? It was like I didn't want them in my bedroom, so it was just an expansion of that. So it started off just for me and just my friends, and it just grew. Do you get what I'm saying? It got to the point where it was like, it was just us lot. So just the Farndale man, them, you know, or the Reens man, them would just congregate there on a Friday night. Yeah. We'd play music, we'd drink, we'd smoke and whatever. We'd make mixtapes, and it was just a vibe, and it just grew until it became a thing. It became like, yo, Friday night, Friction's Garage. For, I would say, from 95 right the way through to easily like 2000. For that 5 years, guaranteed, sometimes 20 man. Sometimes 20 man per night. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? You had like your core attendees. That was like, you know, us lot. And then another crew would come. So the Blake Norman would come, and there'd be like 9 of them. You get me? And it was like, it just became a thing, man. It just became a thing. And then, you know, obviously the tape started circulating. We started doing mixtapes, and, you know, the youngers like Props and Bowie and Crawler, they started getting involved, and they formed a little crew, the Naughty Killers. And then it kind of spilled out. Man started coming from Birmingham, obviously, because I started making headway, doing events and playing at different places and doing DJ competitions. Started inviting them man down. So MSI came down, and, you know, ended up 57th Dynasty. The guys from 57th Dynasty in London, they came down. Kingston, Cypher. And actually saying that, the first time Cypher came, he brought his MPC, and that's the first time I saw an MPC in the flesh.
Really?
And when man, I knew about it, and I'd seen it in videos and, you know, in hip hop magazines, but he was the first man I knew who had one. So by like them times, I'd probably use like the drum machine at Sam Sharp and the keyboard at Sam Sharp. So when Cypher came and showed me the MPC, I was like, nah, that's it. I need that.
That's magic.
I need that.
Magic in a box.
How much was that? And he told me how much it was, and I was like, okay, yeah, I need to do a few more shifts at work. So I started doing some Saturday and Sunday overtime at the factory so I could get one.
Wow. So how much were you talking? How much was an MPC? Which MPC was it?
It was MPC 2000. like the official, the first kind of new model. So you had the older models. That was the one with like more RAM. You had the 8 outputs. So it was MPC 2000, and at that time, so I got mine in 97. I paid $2.5 for it.
Jeez.
Yeah, man, $2.5. Yeah, and I also maxed it out.
$2.5 was a whole heap of money. $2.5 like that's about 3 cars. You know?
I think I got a loan. I'm sure I went to Lloyd's to the TSB Bank in the Avion Centre and got a loan to buy it. Yeah, man. And I went down to London. I went to Turnkey in London, Tottenham Court Road. And saying that you had Croc on, I remember going to buy it and I was crossing Tottenham Court Road and I was like, I'm sure that's Morris. Yo. And it was, man. I booked up on Croc. So he doesn't even know that. The day when me and him crossed paths on Tottenham Court Road, I was going to buy my MPC.
No way. No way.
So look at that. He was on before me. He was on the last episode, wasn't he? First episode, yeah, man.
That's right.
Look at that. So our paths crossed. I was going to, because obviously I knew him growing up in Reens.
Yeah.
Went to school with him as well. We went to the same school, and obviously he moved to London.
Yeah.
I never seen him for a while, and then I'm just crossing the road, Tottenham Court Road. I booked up on Croc. I was like, no way. So yeah, I was going to buy my MPC, man.
That's nice.
So,
that's nice. So you come back on the train with the MPC?
Yeah, man.
You stopped at the time?
No. I went for one day. Just went down there for the day. Like I think I ordered it. Obviously not online. You had to phone them. I had a Turnkey magazine. I saw it in the magazine. It's like, right, I'm going to phone them. Have you got one? Yes, we've got one. All right. I want the 8 outputs. I want the full RAM, and I want the effects board in there as well. So because I knew once I get it, that's it. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm speccing it out, and I had the money. You know, I got the loan from the bank, so I had the money to get it, and I just spent it all on that. Just maxed it out. So, and again, once I got that, that was like, okay, now I need to go missing again. It's the same way when I started DJing.
I remember when you got that. You know, I remember when you got that, and you literally went, nobody check me for a bit, man. I'm going to the top of this mountain, and I'm going to the top of Mount Zion, man, and something's gonna go on. You just proper on some Buddha palm thing, man. Seriously, man. We came back and checked you, and all of a sudden, man, you got some things laced up in there, man.
Yeah, man. And that was it, man. It was like heavy. I was serious. Like I said, I came back from America with a seriousness. And working was one of them, but also trying to make something out of music. Like I said, as a youth, I saw Goldie be successful, and them times as well. Goldie was massive. Obviously, he dropped Timeless. He was huge. He'd been in the Bond film. He was in EastEnders. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm seeing this guy thinking, I grew up with him. I saw him in the flesh, and look at him now. So that just gave me that drive. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, man, head down and just learnt about production from there. So I kind of was transitioning from DJing more into production them times. And that's when I kind of really started. And that's when I started sampling whatever I had. So I had the Pinky and Perky, I had the Muppets, I had the Disney. That's when I started sampling those tracks.
Yeah.
So
and how much more difficult was it to work with that MPC compared to your more modern equipment that you got now? Just sort of, you know, a bit of a
yeah, it was difficult because again, the thing now, we've got YouTube. You get me? I bought a new mixer today. Well, I bought it recently, but it came today. And after about, watching 3 or 4 videos, it's fully hooked up, fully set up exactly how I want it. And it wasn't straightforward. It wasn't like plug and play. It was, okay, I need it to get a feed from there. I need a feed from there. I also need it to push a signal over there, but I don't want any feedback. I'd never used it before in my life, but I watched a few videos and it's now set up, ready to go. I can turn it on, boom, do what I need to do. In those days, it was sit down with the manual and work it out. So, okay, turn it on, bam. Turn it on, there's no sounds in it. There's no sounds in it. You got to put the disc in and load up your drums. Okay, my drums are in. I want to make a sequence. I want to make an 8-bar sequence. How do you make a sequence? Press start, turn that. Okay, back to the book. Right, okay, yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? So just to get 8 bars of boom, cut, boom, 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 cut, that would probably take me a day just to get it to sound okay. It sounds too robot. Why does it sound robotic? Oh, you got the quantize turned on, turn the quantize off, change your timing. Oh, you can change your timing. Okay, yeah. So that's how you get that sound. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just you have to just be in it. It's time. Yeah, it's just time. Yeah. So where now, like I said, no matter how, because the ones nowadays are more complicated because there's other layers to it. That was just hardware. Now it's hardware and software. So the one I've got at the moment, it's the same configuration in terms of the hardware, but it also comes with the software as well. So you got 2 learning curves. But again, I can watch a few videos, and I've learned it. I know how to do it. So, yeah, man, it was definitely a learning curve, and that's why I had to go missing. Just head down, just learn it, man.
And it's a significant investment as well, man. You invested that money, so you meant business, man. So
yeah, man.
No respect. At the time, I had no idea it was that sort of cheddar, to be honest.
Yeah, man. 2.5 bags. I could have bought, and that was the thing. Like a lot by then, again at that stage, I was like, what? I was like 19. A lot of my friends were driving. Do you get what I'm saying? Man, we're going into more adult type things. Do you get what I'm saying? Certain man had flats. I was at my mom's with my MPC. Do you get what I'm saying? Still driving illegally. You know what I mean? No license.
Some realistic driving.
Yeah, man. That's it. But to me, it was like, that was more important. I'd rather have that than a car. Because if I've got a car, I'm going to be out and about. I'm going to come back home and I can't do what I want to do. This is what I want to do. So I invested my money in that. And I continue to do that. Do you get what I'm saying? Even like I said today, I bought a new mixer. So I've always kind of done that.
Yeah. So what is give me some memories from, obviously it's like the DJ and then going into production and Friction's Garage. Give me some, any interesting things you can tell us about things that went down at Friction's Garage.
You're trying to get me in trouble.
No, hey, remember, you said we won't mention any names. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you imagine every Friday, Saturday, sometimes on a Sunday, maybe on a Thursday, depending on what was going on. For 5 years, you can imagine the stories. So, which route do you want to go? Do you want to go about, when we smoked that much we fell asleep and left all the equipment on, and I woke up with a crossfader mark in my head? Do you want that story? Do you want the story where man was freestyling for like 3 hours straight, back to back? You know what I mean? You, G Money, Darren, you know what I mean? Owen was there. When I say Darren, obviously Darren Osborne, and then later on Darren Perry came as well. Man. Just hours and hours of good memories. Hours. Like I always say, if we had YouTube those times, it's like what you guys are doing now with the One Nation Under a Blues.
Oh,
it was like
imagine that.
Imagine just 2 cameras set up and all that audio being streamed live. It would just be comedy gold. There'd be some classic freestyles. There'd be some classic comedy moments. I remember when Fingers came one time and Fingers was just busting up some mad freestyles.
Big up to Fingers.
Should I tell you who one of my favorite people to come there was? Daniel Perry. G-Money's little nephew. Details.
Yeah.
My man had so much style and flavor. I used to love it when he came, man.
Details.
He was just full of style. You know what I mean? He was a character, man. So, and then obviously the birthday parties. Do you get what I'm saying? So that was like a regular weekly occurrence. And then come summer, my birthday is in August. I'd open up the garage door, cook up a whole heap of chicken. Everyone brought a bottle, and it was, you know what I mean? It was an event, and that would run from 2 o'clock in the afternoon till 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Serious.
You know what I mean? Those birthday parties were epic.
Yeah. I remember I was working on the doors at the time, and I remember finishing work and like about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then coming round to your yard. And we did like in my man from Hip Hop Connection, didn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was like 3 o'clock in the morning. There's places ram out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
people on the mic, you on the decks.
Yeah.
Mad, man.
That's it.
Mad.
I mean, even that, you mentioned that, like, we were just doing what we were doing. We were just living hip hop. You weren't trying, we weren't like trying to be, we were just doing it. And these people found out about us. Hip Hop Connection found out about us, came down and interviewed us. I never pursued them. Do you get what I'm saying? They found out about us. I think Owen had the connection. He must have played them a tape, or I don't know. All I know is that Owen comes and says, "Yo, Hip Hop Connection want to interview us." I was like, "For real?" I was like, "Yeah, cool, let's do it." Next thing you know, we've got a feature in Hip Hop Connection. Just some guys in a garage doing hip hop. Do you get what I'm saying? And then obviously that led on to when I produced my first album. So that was 98, 99. I'd done Live from the Construction Sites. Again, ended up in HHC. I got a 4-star review. You remember back in those days, like 5 mics was, if you got 5 mics, that was a thing.
These are done.
That was like, that was it. Where Hip Hop Connection had the bars, it was like 4 bars, 5 bars. They gave my album a 4-bar review. And I was just, to me, that was like, wow, this is the biggest hip hop publication in the UK. And they've reviewed my album that I've made in my garage on my little MPC with my little mic and my tights over it. You know what I mean? And my friends, they've given it 4 bars. That's one off a classic. Do you know what I mean? That to me was a big deal, man. I was like, wow, we can do this. We can do something here. You know, so yeah, man.
It's crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
It is crazy. And the one of the reasons why I respect you is that I took it as a fun thing. I enjoyed it. It was fun. But you saw the potential in it and you were focused on the team. So that's why you moved on to be involved with other groups. So talk to me about the Birmingham crews, the MSI that you were working with.
Yeah. So that kind of started from so DJ Kingston. Remember Kingston? Obviously, me and Kingston connected.
Kingston's heavy, man.
Obviously 2 DJs. He would come and stay at my yard every now and then. We'd have he'd come down for the garage sessions actually, and he'd stay the nights. Yeah, so he invited me to go to a DJ competition at Punch Records in Birmingham. So I'd never been to Punch Records before. I'd never entered into a DJ competition like that before. So I'm trying to round up friends. It's on a Saturday afternoon in Punch Records in Birmingham. I'm trying to round up friends and say, yo, come, let's go, brum, and let's go and represent. And everyone at them times, obviously, we never had mobile phones. It was like, you have to phone a man's yard. Everyone I'm phoning, no one's there. So I had one guy and he was like, yeah, man, I'm coming. I've got a rental. I was like, yes, man's got a rental. So we got pulling up in a vehicle now. It's like, we're not going on bus or train. We're driving there.
Seriously, man. Big things.
Mama Day turn up. You joking? So I'm literally sat. I'm phoning him and he's like, yeah, man, I'll soon come. I'm coming. I'm sat on my doorstep on my record box like this, waiting for him. And he got to the point where he's like, you know what, my man ain't coming. So 2 buses to town. Did I catch the bus or the train? I caught the bus. So I caught bus to town, bus to Birmingham. I'm at Kingston in Perry Bar, and we walked down to Punch Records. And I just remember walking in and the shop was ram. And it's pure, man. None of them I don't know. Pure hoods up. And you get me? It's just one of them type of environments. And I'm just squeezed up in there. Like, I know one person in this place, and that's Kingston. Kingston, I'm keeping my eye on you. So there's like 3 or 4 DJs there. I'm part of this competition now. So I'm just thinking, sure, here we go. This is it. So my time come now. Now this time, them times I wasn't really a turntablist. I was a party DJ. I was a mixtape DJ. So I was more 2 copies back to back, and I'm playing tunes that make people want to dance. I wasn't really I wasn't really into the scratching and the turntablism. So one of the guys there, I think his name was Scarecrow. He was well known for being a turntablist. He was judging. So there was me, there was Scarecrow, there was another, I can't remember who the other DJ was, and there was DJ Casualty. So Casualty was the DJ for MSI.
Right.
So I done my sets. Everyone paid homage. Like, yeah, man, my man knows his stuff. He ain't a turntablist, but yo, he done his thing. You get me? Cut a long story short, Casualty won. He had the home crowd. He was a turntablist. He doing all the scratching and that. He ended up winning the competition. But that day we connected. So I invited Cash down. A couple of weeks later, Casualty came down to the garage, and we just connected from there. Casualty brought this guy, a friend of his named Disgusting Justin. I don't know if you remember him.
No, man. No,
so he was an MC. He was an MC from Birmingham as well. Disgusting Justin.
Yeah.
He was never really serious about it, but he could rap, he could freestyle, and he had style. Yeah. So Cash came down, and Cash brought Justin. Justin was friends with HMD, and HMD had just left MSI then. So MSI broke up and he just left and gone solo. Right. So I'd already worked with MSI. I remember I'd done an event at Adastra, and I don't actually remember I brought it was called British Standard. So I DJ'd there. I brought down DJ Disorder from, not Disorder. It was DJ Disorder from London. I brought down 57th Dynasty. Pen Talk was there. Scaramanga was there. Moorish Delta. Wolftown. Who else? MSI and Asylum. Dark Cherry. So I brought down like 10 artists all to this club in Wolverhampton for this hip hop jam. Promoted it all myself, invested all my own money in it, and it was a good event. You know, I never made no money off it. I didn't even break even, but that solidified me in the UK hip hop circuit because everyone that came down off the strength of me inviting them and promising them that it's going to happen. So when they came and they seen it happen and crowd turned up and, you know what I mean, it's all documented, it's on video. That kind of certified, like, yeah, man, my man's in the UK hip hop game. Like, he's not on the fringes, he's involved. He's pulled all these people together. He's put this event on. So anyway, that had happened. HMD was at the event. He came to the event. I didn't know this. He was there. Do you get what I'm saying? But them times, like I said, MSI had split up. I didn't know him, but I knew the other guys from MSI. So anyway, so when Justin came to my yard, Justin was like, nah, you need to meet H, man. You need to meet H. So he must have went back and told H, yo, this youth in Wolves, he's got beats, man, and he can DJ. Yo, he's sick. Rare. So he brought H down. So I've got this on video. H came down and I just played him some beats and he went mad. He was just like, man was freestyling for like 3 hours straight.
Head took him.
Next, give me a next one. He was just freestyling. And them times he was like, he had an EP out called, was it the Trilogy? He basically had an EP out that was busting up the place. He had a track called Bondi. He had a track called Mr. Wap. He had a track called The Black Phantom. So on the UK hip hop circuits, he was the man at the time. Yeah, in terms of like his lyricism, his flow, everything. He full package, and he was like destined to blow. So he invited me to become his producer. He was like, yo, I need to work with you, man. I want those beats. And he invited me to the studio. So he just got a deal with another independent label in Birmingham called Different Drummer. So again, me and him just connected. We just linked up and he brought me to the studio. We went to the Different Drummer studio in Birmingham, just across the road from the Academy. And this is my first time going to a proper recording studio. I brought my MPC, had it in a suitcase, strung it up, and we basically made probably 2 albums worth of material. Every beat I pulled out, he had a track for it, and he literally had songs. Do you get what I'm saying? Typed out. It was proper. It was on it. Do you get what I'm saying? He had folders with songs typed out in there. So we must have made about 30 tracks in one day. No, in the space of a month. So because he had the deal with the label, he had like a joint venture deal with the label. They gave him unlimited studio time because they had their own studio, so we could just go there anytime. So on a weekend, I would go and stop at his yard, and we'd just go to the studio. So he was in the studio Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we were just banging out tracks. So like I said, we must have made about 30 tracks. And then so we'd done all that. That was kind of that batch of music. And then we had another connect with another studio in I think is Erdington, just off Hagley Road, Churchill Road it's called, just off Hagley Road. There was a studio down there. And again, we had the studio booked out for like a month, and we just go in there and just, you know what I mean? And that's where I kind of learned how to produce and how to make music. Before I was making beats, this is like we're making songs now. We need to turn this beat into a song. So I learned about structure. I learned about, mixing, mastering. I never knew about mastering them times. When I recorded my album in my garage, I never mixed or mastered it. It was like, as it came out the MPC, I put a little delay on it, a little echo on it, and that's it. It was rough and rugged, where this was like, okay, you're going to do what you're doing, but then we're going to bring this guy in. He's going to mix it, and then he's going to come in and he's going to master it. So it showed me like industry standard stuff. you get what I'm saying? So that's where I kind of learned my craft there. So yeah, man.
Wicked.
Mm.
It's interesting seeing like how the whole journey is sort of panning out now. Do you know what I mean? It's gone from you chilling in Heathtown, watching Goldie and the B-Boys breaking, getting that inspiration from PE and Eric B and Rakim and all that kind of thing, to go into try and start to play out and play your own tunes, and then to making your own tunes, and then seeing from making your own tunes, because anyone can make a beat, to making your beat, to actually putting it out. You know what I mean? That's like the next level, man. So it's interesting to hear. Very interesting to hear. So what we at the time, what were your kind of influences, and what was your style? So was there any, like, were you looking at this kind of like sample based stuff? Because obviously it's MPC in it. So what were your kind of sources of inspiration to sample?
So we need to take a step back. So that time in America, so when I was in America for that 6 months, so I don't know who this person was, but someone either sent me or gave me a 60-minute cassette tape, and on one side it had Illmatic, and on the other side it had Jerry the Damage's first album. Yeah. So you imagine, I don't know who that person was, but yo, salute to that person. I just remember having this tape. And obviously both of those albums, Primo is heavy on those albums. So the whole of the J. Rue album, Primo, DJ Premier produced that. And then he had three joints on the Illmatic album. But then obviously Pete Rock's on there, Large Professor's on there. This tune, yeah.
Tell the people what this is.
So yeah, man. So this is off Jerry the Damage's first album. This is Ain't the Devil Happy. This encapsulates the sound I was trying to get. I didn't know how I was going to get it, but this was the sound I was driving for. Just that gritty, raw, East Coast hip-hop sound. You know what I mean? There was obviously a lot of other music out at the time. You had like the West Coast stuff doing their thing. You know, down south, Atlanta were doing their things, but this was me. You know what I mean? This is the sound I wanted, man. So DJ Premier, in terms of, you know, what I was aspiring for in the sound I was driving for, it was DJ Premier, it was Reza, obviously Q-Tip, Pete Rock, Large Professor, Diamond D. You know what I mean? Those are my influences. So yeah, man, it's definitely aiming for that raw sound. But even then, like, I didn't know, like, when I listen to that now, and I could probably find a record that was sampled from. But in my limited understanding of, because again, there was no YouTube, there was no one else around me doing it. Again, like I said, Cypher was doing it, but Cypher was in Brum. So in terms of in my circle, there was no one doing it. So there was no one else to watch or to learn from. So I would hear that and I would think, okay, they've sampled the strings and they've sampled the bass and they've played it, not realizing the whole thing is a sample and it's been chopped and they've looped it and then they've put drums on it. I didn't understand that part of it. That was foreign to me. So when later on in my production journey, when I realized, hold on, if I heard that record, I'd be like, oh, that's J. Rue? Like, nah.
Yeah.
No, that's how okay, I get it now. So then that's when I started digging. Do you get what I'm saying? I started pulling out my dad's old 45s and looking, and then literally looking for like sections rather than a bass sound or a string sound or a guitar sound. I'm looking for sections, like, give me 2 seconds. That's funky. Yeah, man, just loop that up and then chop that up and then flip it. Do you get what I'm saying? So that was a big learning curve for me when I realized, because obviously I knew people sampled, but I didn't know how they were sampling. I thought they were sampling sounds and playing them. And don't get me wrong, I knew that, you know, certain tunes, that's just a straight loop because it's easily recognizable. But tracks like that, I would have thought, or I did think, they'd sampled some strings and layered the strings, and they'd sampled the bass and layered the bass. I didn't realize it was actual, you know, 4 bars from a song, and they just put drums over it.
Yeah.
So that was a game changer for me, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
But DJ Premier, I would say, big influence. Definitely.
So if we're talking Primo, we're going to talk about this, man.
The realness. The realness.
You see this? When I hear this tune, Yeah, exactly. I'm talking about. If I hear this tune, I think Tony Lloyd Brown. That's what I'm talking about. You get me?
Yeah, man.
This is a friction tune.
Yeah, man.
This is a you all over, mate.
And one version won't cut it. You need 2 copies.
You need 2 copies of that.
You need 2 copies. That's it. And that was the thing. Like when I was playing these tunes, I was heavy in my 2 copies. Like it was standard. Before, you know, I never had the money to get 2 copies. If someone else had a copy and I could borrow it, or, you know, I'd buy the album and the single. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'd use a version of the album and a version of the single. But by this time, I was buying 2 copies. Yeah. So that's when Trixie used to love me. Yeah, man. Well, there were certain tracks where it's like, yeah, man, I have to have 2 copies of that. Yeah. So this, I had to have 2 copies. What else? There's certain tracks you hear them, it's like, as a mixtape DJ, you know, I need 2 copies of that. Other tunes, it's just a one banger, just boom. That's that. But there's other tunes where it's like, yeah, 2 copies have to run.
This tune
man. That's when DJing got expensive. Obviously, when you're buying imports, and imports are like $8.99. Do you get what I'm saying? Because by the time it got to £5 or $4.99, it's been rinsed. Do you get what I'm saying? When you're buying imports, it's $8.99, and then you need 2 copies. It got real expensive. You know what I mean? So yeah, Ruby Reg used to love me. Them days. Trixie would literally have 2 copies put down for me. He was like, "Yo, make sure you order 2." You know. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Yes. No, but that tune is synonymous with Friction's Garage. That's what I want to say.
Man.
Do you know what I mean? Anytime I hear that tune, whatever year it will be, it will always
just take you straight back.
It's guaranteed, man. It's got the hook on it, man. It's killer tune, Group Home,
and Underground FM as well. So that was Underground days as well.
Mate, talk about that.
Yeah, Underground FM. You know what I mean? Salute Pablo. What's the other guy's name? There was Pablo, and I've said Pablo's my cousin in it, but I can't remember his name. An Asian guy.
Yeah, man, my Asian guy's cool.
So those are the first 2 founders, and then later on, Mac came on the scene. Later on, Mac and Chili with the glasses, they came on later on. But it was Pablo and the next guy who started it, and not many people know this. I was the first DJ to ever play live on Underground FM.
Are you joking? Okay.
Forever. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So obviously they set up the station. It was in Richard's yard in Heathtown. You remember Richard? It was in his yard in Heathtown. Set up in the kitchen on the work surface. And I just remember it was a Sunday evening, and I remember Pablo just phoning me and saying, "Yo, you want to play on the radio?" I was like, "Yeah, man. When?" He's like, "Now." I was like,
"No warning, nothing." Rags.
I was like, "Yeah, why not?" So they just set it up, and they just strung up the antenna. So I was the first DJ to do a live broadcast on Underground FM, and it was probably like 8-9 o'clock on a Sunday evening. Done the sets. It was like, "Yeah, man, everything was crisp." Boom, locked it all off. I said, "You want to play?" I was like, "Yeah, man, I'll play." And I just ended up having that slot. So I ended up doing 8 till 10 on a Sunday night on Underground, and obviously that became the Underground 107 point nothing.
That was it, man.
FM. Yeah, man. And that became like
good times, man. Good times.
Yeah, man.
Good times.
Yeah, that show was probably my best radio show, because obviously we kind of invited the world into what we was doing in the garage anyway. It wasn't nothing different. So the 2 copies back to back, the instrumentals just running, joke in the background, freestyles. That was just, we were doing that for years anyway. So by the time we got on the radio, it was normal. But to some people, they're just hearing it. You know what I mean? I remember getting phone calls from all over the place, and people like, "Yo."
Yeah, it was mad.
They loved it, man.
It was mad. Yeah,
they loved it.
Phone was going off of the hook back then.
Yeah, man.
It was crazy. And we had guests up in the station as well, didn't we? We had
yeah, man. People would come and want to come on the show, man.
Yeah. There was there was three MCs from
West Bromwich. The guy's name was Cypher. The little short guy. Yeah, there was him and 2 other guys.
Sarah C.
Yeah.
And what was the other guy's name?
I'm glad you remembered that. I forgot about him.
Yeah, man, I remember them. Man.
Well, I remember Cypher though.
Sunny Hills. Sunny Hills.
Oh my gosh, your memory's good, Trevor. Yeah,
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's all I can remember, man. That's it. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Sunny Hills. Like
Sunny
I wouldn't have
Hills,
remembered that.
man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I used to smoke too much weed them times. Yeah, yeah, man.
Yeah, heavy MCs. That was
But yeah.
mad times, crazy times.
That whole show was just you know what I mean, pure hip hop, freestyles,
Mm.
scratching, mixing, just joke vibes. It was
And it wasn't any watered down hip hop either. It
Nah,
was,
man.
It was proper.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? It
Yeah,
was
man.
heavyweight.
107 point nothing.
Point non serious things.
Yeah, man.
So, if can you recall the time? I remember you calling me and saying, "Trev, what are you doing later?" I was like, "Why? Why?" Because yo, we're gonna play at Wolferen. Do you remember that?
I remember working in that grimy factory job and getting called into the office. I thought I was going to get the sack. I remember getting called into the office saying, someone's on the phone for you. I've never, ever had a phone call at work, ever. Like, I didn't even go in the office. I only went in the office if it was a problem. Do you get what I'm saying? So they've pulled me off the shop floor and said, oh, someone's on the phone for you. I got on the phone. It's G Money. And G Money's like, yo, the Loonies are playing at Civic Hall tonight. I was like, for real? I was like, yeah. You want to support them? I was like, I'm standing in my dirty overalls with grease all over my hands, sweating. And I'm like, say that again. The Loonies are playing at Civic Hall tonight. Do you want to, should we support them? I was like...
Tell the people who the Loonies are.
So just go on YouTube and type in the Loonies with a Z. I've got 5 on it. I got 5 on it. At the time,
L-U-N-I-Z.
that was one of the biggest tunes. Obviously, it was coming off the back of Dre and Snoop and The Chronic. So West Coast was big in the charts then. And the Loonies, they were on fire with that track. They only had one track, but that was the track. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What was crazy is, obviously, we were at the cutting edge of hip hop in Wolverhampton. I never knew the Loonies were playing at Civic Hall. I never heard, I never seen one flyer. I never heard one jingle. Never seen one advert to say the Loonies are playing at the Civic. So I was like, for real? And he was like, yeah, man. Got the opportunity. So basically, G Money knew someone who was in the circle promoting it. So they contacted him to say, yo, you guys off the radio, we got this show. We want you guys to come and be a support actor. He was like, yeah, man, let's do it. This time, like you said, there's me as a DJ, you, G Money, and was it Darren Perry as well?
It's Darren,
It's
Darren. Mm-hmm.
So we had no rehearsals. We didn't have a track. Like, we didn't have no music. It was just, what we're going to do? We're going to play some beats and we're going to freestyle. We're going to do what we do on the radio every week. Yeah, man, let's do that. So we picked the instrumentals that, yeah, man, I'm going to run this. And we're just going to do our thing. So I remember turning up for the sound check. So I'd left work. I was gassed, like, is this really going to happen? So I left work, got home, washed, showered. I think, so yeah, I called you and we went up there for the sound check. And I remember going there and obviously the Loonies were in the dressing room. You remember? So they were in the dressing room, speaking to the people. It's like, yeah, you got 15 minutes to do a set, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, where's the turntables? I was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, we need turntables. We ain't got none. I had to go back home, pack up everything at the garage and go back up there and set up so I had to take my turntables from my yard, the table, everything. I had to put this table on the stage, set up the turntables, hook it up with the system in the place. So we done a quick sound check. It was like, yeah. So, you know what I mean? We ended up being in the dressing room with the Loonies, them like just smoking down the place. We're in there smoking and drinking. I remember about to go on stage now for our time, and a woman said to me, don't take your drink on stage. I was like, well, this is hip hop. Like, what do you mean don't take your drink on stage? Like, this is our moment. So I remember warming up. I just done some jigger, you know what I mean? Played a few tracks and just scratched it up, and the crowd was getting live. Now, as far as you tell me if I'm wrong, there wasn't that many people there. There wasn't that many.
Man. It was
but there was a crowd there still.
Yeah, the people
there was a crowd
there.
there.
To like it, but there weren't many
yeah,
there, man.
So yeah, man. So we just done a little jigger, and then you lot come and just freestyled and done the thing,
Mm.
and it worked. You know what I mean?
It was mad. Because
It was
literally,
crazy.
when you called me, right, I was cutting the lawn at my mum's yard. So I'm out the back sweating. And you're talking to about, we're going to support the loonies. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Just, you know, what? Do you know what I mean? It's just
It was
madness.
just out the blue.
It was like a midweek thing as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, man. It was like probably a Wednesday or a Thursday, just out the blue. Literally, phone call at work, support the loonies, went there, done it, done. Just crazy. Yeah, man.
Mad.
Unbelievable.
Mad.
Mm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, man.
musical journeys from there. So, production, where'd you go from there? So, you're talking about putting out EPs and working with some Birmingham MCs.
Yeah.
What happens after that?
So we're going into like 99, 2000 now. So yeah, working with HMD, that was like 99 right the way through to 2001, 2002. Obviously during that time, I'm now fully in adulthood. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm experiencing certain things. There's lots of stuff going on. Wolves is changing. Do you get what I'm saying? I've had friends who have died. I've had friends who have been killed. I've had friends who've been kidnapped, thrown in boots. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it was, because remember when because of the jungle era, things got dark. Do you get what I'm saying?
Very
like
quickly,
even like
very
when we was on Underground, I just remember around from 96 to 99, Wolves just got dark, man. You know what I mean? I remember being in a Jungle Blues in Heath Town and the whole of Manchester coming in there, and it was just a dark time, man. So anyway, so I'm trying to stay away from all that. I'm just doing my music, and I just remember. So again, we're talking 99 now. So I'm working with HMD. I'm doing what I'm doing, and I remember, you know, salute Boots, Stephen Grizzle. I remember being at Boots' yard, and we'd go there on a regular basis and play PlayStation and drink and smoke and whatever, and listen to hip hop and whatever.
Big up all the Grizzles, matter of fact, man. Big them up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Respect.
Salute Foundation.
Yeah, man.
So we're just chilling, and I remember Boots saying, yo, Nooks brought this video here, man. You need to watch this video. Like, what's it about? It's like some New World Order business. I've never heard of it before in my life. I was like, okay, let's see what this is about then. So I put the video on, and we sat there watching this video, and it's this guy, Barry Smith, and he's just breaking down the whole New World Order agenda. And so we were watching this in 99. The video was recorded in 1988. My man's talking like he's just watched Sky News. Everything he's talking about, I'm seeing unfolding. Like he's talking about one world government. He's talking about, you know, one world currency. He's talking about genetically modified food. I'm just sitting there thinking, how does this man know all this? This was in 88. He's 99. So anyway, he's talking his talk. And then he starts talking about God and Christ. And I'm sitting there smoking, drinking. And then all of a sudden, conviction just licked me. Like, just literally, it's like I just blanked out. And for the first time ever in my life, I had to acknowledge sin in my life. Like I'd never acknowledged the sin that I'd done in my life. I never thought about sin. Like growing up, you don't think about, I wasn't raised in a Christian household. Do you get what I'm saying? I wasn't raised in a religious household at all. So all that was foreign to me. So to hear about sin and those things, like when he was talking, I was like, rah, like if I just stand before God, he wouldn't be good. He wouldn't be good. And I just remember I felt physically sick. I remember sitting there and I felt like I was going to vomit. So I went in the bathroom, and I just remember Boots is the biggest Tupac fan in the universe. Like he was the biggest Tupac fan at the time. And I remember being in his bathroom, just holding my head, just like, rah, like I'm a sinner. I never ever, like, just to say that out my mouth shook me to my soul. And I remember looking up, and on the back of his bathroom door, he had that iconic picture of Tupac with the bandana and the gun in his waist and the thug life. He had bare chest with the thug life and the gun in his waist. And it was like, I looked up and I seen that picture. And it was literally like, the moment was like, he looked at me like to say, is this what you want? Because he just died then. He died probably, you know, a couple of years before that. He died 96, so yeah, a couple of years before that. He said 99. And I just broke down. I just literally just broke down. Like, imagine I'm around all the man them, you know, we're all in there, just chilling, smoking, whatever. And I just bawled. I just broke down and bawled, man. And that was the starting of my journey into a Christian lifestyle. Do you get what I'm saying? A change happened in me then, but it didn't manifest itself. But I was conscious that the things that I do on a day-to-day basis ain't pleasing to God. It's almost like I was spiritually awoken. So that was in 99. So fast forward to 2002. During that period, things started to drop off. I started to smoke less. I started to drink less. I started to be more conscious about how I conduct myself. Do you get what I'm saying? My mom bought me a Bible for Christmas, just out the blue. My mom bought me a Bible for Christmas. I was like, rah, is someone trying to say something to me here? Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So, cut a long story short, 2002, I just woke up one morning. I went to bed Saturday night. I woke up Sunday morning and I just woke up and I said to myself, if it's before 10 o'clock, I'm going to church today. And I looked at the clock and it was like 9:53. And I just got up. I just got up. Them times I was living in a flat with Nicola on Albert Road. So me and I was living together, boyfriend and girlfriend. She's my wife now, so you know what I mean. Everything worked out. So I remember just waking up, and I just started ironing my clothes. I just thought, okay, I'm going to church. I started ironing my best shirt I had at the time and some trousers. And I remember Nicola coming out the bedroom and saying, "What are you doing?" I says, "I'm going to church." "You coming?" She was like, "No." So yeah, man, just pressed up my clothes, started getting dressed, and then lo and behold, she started getting dressed, and me and her went to church together that day. And I just remember, you know, the guy was preaching, went to Heathtown Church, and I don't know who was preaching, but as he was talking, it was like he was talking to me directly. And I just, you know, again, that conviction licked me. And they done an altar call, and I didn't even think about it. See, they done an altar call, and next thing I know, I'm standing at the front of the church, like, rah, I'm at the front. How did I end up here? I'm at the front of the church. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I ended up, from that day forward, I gave my life to the Lord. You know, that was in the January. February, me and Nicola got engaged. So this is 2002. I went to church in the January. Went to the altar. We got engaged in the February on Nicola's birthday. I got baptized in the April. We got married in August. Do you get what I'm saying? Like my whole life just fully
flipped
90 degrees, fully. Yeah, man. So, you know what I mean? Like I said, I stopped smoking. Just everything changed. Do you get what I'm saying? And that was the start of it, man. And it was like that for a good 15 years. You know what I mean? Ended up, like I said, we got married, we had children. I started a career in youth work. I mean, I was already doing some youth work then, just through the music. I was doing some DJ workshops, but I got serious. I went to university. I just straightened up. Do you get what I'm saying? And I just walked away from the music. I just knew I can't do both of them. You know what I mean? And that was kind of like the start of my mature adult life. I put away the little boy flex, and I straightened up and became a big man. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I said, we got married, we had children, we bought a house. I got my career in youth work. I kind of shot quickly in terms of youth work. Once I got qualified, I ended up managing a youth centre, managing a project. I ended up managing the youth service in Warsaw. Do you get what I'm saying? I was just, you know what I mean, kind of moved up quickly in the ranks. So yeah, man. I almost became a deacon. You know
Really?
what I mean? Yeah, man. They pushed me to the front, man. Because obviously I was quite, you know, I was a practical, hands-on guy. I was a doer. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
but the thing is, it's your story and your background. You know what I mean? Like where you've come from, and you said, right, okay, you've completely your life just flipped. Not even like 90 degrees, man. It's a 180. You get me? And to have that kind of experience to go and talk to people to kind of save other people. That's a big thing, because you've actually got that experience, and people would more likely listen to you rather than someone who has been in the church from the year dot coming to say the same thing. You actually know the two sides of the coin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can understand that.
So yeah, man. So when all that happened, so again, think about it. I'm working with HMD. We've recorded 3 albums worth of material. We've got a joint venture deal with this label. When that happened, around the same time, so that was 99, I had to go and say to H, like, boy, because I just went missing. I fully went missing. Like, all the music was recorded, but I knew in my heart, it was like, I can't really get on that again. Like, I can't push that with the same passion I was pushing it before, because my heart's not in it no more. If you want to use it, that's up to you. Feel free, do what you're doing, but I can't really be involved like that again. You know, I'm on a different path now. So I just didn't contact him. We just didn't speak for months. He was doing what he was doing. I think he was in like a counseling course. I was doing what I was doing in the youth work. And then I went to Jewelry Quarter to go and buy Nicola an engagement ring. And I seen him in Birmingham. I seen him in Jewelry Quarter. And that's when I had to kind of break news to him. I was like, yeah, man, I'm kind of done with it all, man. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm going to church and I'm doing something different. And he was like, he wasn't discouraged. He was like, rah, like I was surprised. Do you get what I'm saying? His reaction. He wasn't discouraged at all. He was like, kind of like, rah, for real. Nah, man, yo, yeah, man, respect. So a lot happened in that time. I remember there was this guy who I knew from Birmingham through H. He was doing a concert in Birmingham, and he invited me to the concert. We got tickets to go to the concert. So me, Nicola, H, and H's friend James JR, who RIP passed away back in 2018. I got tickets for all of us. We all went to this concert. It was a gospel concert. It was an urban gospel concert. There was like soul singers, rappers. I'd never seen a hip hop rapper before in my life. There was this guy Spanner. He was a well-known gospel reggae artist. He performed there. This guy Witness, again from Birmingham, a well-known gospel reggae artist. And they were all smashing, like they were all good. And I was sitting there thinking, no way. I never knew people were doing this in gospel.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there with H, and everyone I'm looking at H thinking, like, look at these guys, knowing what we've done. Do you get what I'm saying? So fast forward, I invited H, he stayed at mine, and we went to church that Sunday. So he stayed at my house and we both went to church, and he responded to the altar call. He ended up going and you know what I mean, making a declaration and giving his life to the Lord. So he ended up going to church in Birmingham, getting baptized, and we ended up back on the same path, like, rah. So that was like 2002, 2003. But again, we were both doing our own thing. He was in Birmingham, I was over here. And 2004, he reached out to me and he was like, yo, I've been writing some lyrics. And I was like, for real? I was like, yeah, man, I've been writing some lyrics. I was like, let me hear them then. So I sent him a few beats and he sent me back some music, and he wrote a track called Devil You, and he wrote a track called Crackers. And it was basically talking about his journey, saying, you know, they think I'm crackers because I don't go clubbing or pubbing. They think I'm crackers. Do you get what I'm saying? It was basically his testimony. And it was heavy. I was like, no way. And obviously that started that ball rolling. So we ended up, cut a long story short, we ended up recording a gospel hip hop album called First Fruits. We had a group called Fruits, and we recorded a gospel hip hop album. We ended up doing a big show. So we done a stage play. We've done like a whole production at Bethel Convention Center in Birmingham. Can seat about 2,000 people. There was about 350 people turn up for this event. So we wrote a whole stage play. It was like a musical, and it was about our testimony. Do you get what I'm saying? I've actually got I'm going to put the DVD on YouTube because enough people keep asking me for it. So I'm going to put it out. So we've done the album, we've done the stage play.
So I'll put the link under this video. So
yeah, it ain't going to be for now because it's a long thing. But yeah,
well, when you do,
link it up eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
So yeah, man, we ended up doing a gospel hip hop album and going that route. We ended up going on and getting invited to a gospel TV station in London, Revelation TV, and performing on there. We ended up doing a showcase for this. He was a record label owner from America, and he was looking for gospel artists. We ended up doing a showcase for him, almost getting signed to them. But the same thing that was happening anyway started happening on the gospel circuit.
Yeah.
So that was, like I said, we dropped the album 2005. So we ran with that up until about 2007. By then, 2007, 2008, I had 2 kids, I had a job, I had all these other things going on. It got too much. And we both kind of just decided we're just going to go our separate ways, to get what I'm saying, and just went back into career mode, kind of locked off the music. And I put everything down, but I was doing no music at all, no production, no DJing, nothing. Yeah. I was just I was in work mode. So
up until this point, were you still DJing, or was it just all production?
No, it was all production. No. So I sold my decks, and I gave all my records to DJ Springer. So all you lot, when you go out and you're hearing Springer playing all that 90s hip hop on vinyl and busting up the place, if you go and look at the label, it will say Friction on the label. But actually, I think he's given them all away now. But yeah, man, he got blessed. He got blessed. You know what I mean?
I'd have tech with them record if we had the chance.
Yeah, man. Seriously. I went to his house with a suit. I phoned him. I said, "Yo, you owe me?" He was like, "Yeah." I said, "I got something for you." And I pulled up. I opened the boot and took out a suitcase and just dropped it on him. And he opened it and he was just like, you know that scene in Pulp Fiction when it's the glow out the suitcase. I was like, "That's you." I was like, "That's you, man." There you go. Yeah, man.
That's
blessed
a
him.
Blessing right there, mate. You blessed us for sharing, man.
Yeah, man.
2 copies of the realness.
And that's it. I want them back. I got my decks now. I want them back. So, but yeah, man. I mean, what I will say is, you see, when I went on that path, I was as passionate about that as I was about anything. You know what I mean? I'm all or nothing. Do you get what I'm saying? And I was all out. It was like, this is me now. I'm on this thing. I'm serious. It's just family, God, career. That's me. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? I locked off everything, which at that stage of my life, that needed to happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was a young man, and like I said, I had friends just caught up in mad. You know what Wolves was like them times, man. It was a madness. All the beef was just getting worse in terms of Reens and Heath Town and Park Village and Dovecote. So it was just pure drama. You know what I mean? And I was just like, I can't get involved. I'm done. I'm finished. Like I can't even be around that anymore. Do you get what I'm saying? And obviously once I got my kids, that was it. Like my children that was my life after that, man. I fully invested everything, all my time, all my energy, all my efforts in my family. And it was like that up until, I would say, till 2016. You know what I mean? 2015, 2016, I started to get the itch again. I started to get the itch for production, and you know, I was doing a few projects here and there, because obviously working in youth work, them times in Walsall Council, there was a bit of money floating around. So I built a few studios over in Walsall. I made it my mission that every youth project I had any control over or power over, they're getting decked out, they're getting decks, they're getting a studio. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I knew the positive impact it had in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I knew them times decks were kind of old. It was like, now we want a studio. I probably built, no word of a lie, probably about 6 to 8 studios in Walsall. You know what I mean? Just put in for the money, got the money, built the studio. That's you. You know what I mean? And make sure the kids were good. So again, because I was doing that, I kind of was touching the Mac again and touching, you know what I mean, touching the keyboard. I was like, ooh, yeah, man, could do a little. And then I'd have to show them how to use it as well. So it's like, you know, started getting a little itch again. But 2016, I just made a decision. I said, you know what? I'm going to start producing again. Just, you know what I mean? Just out of the blue, I just thought, you know what? I'm going to buy an MPC. And I bought an MPC Studio Black in October 2016. And just started that journey again. And it was a learning curve, man. I had to learn from scratch again. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it was different to the old machine I had. The new one come with software. So it was a whole different story. So I had to learn that from scratch. But one thing I did, I said to myself, I'm going to document my journey. You know what I mean? I would like my grandchildren to be able to sit, look back and see me as a younger man. They might know me just, oh, he's granddad. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm in my 60s and I'm miserable and whatever. They just know me as granddad.
That's
But
what
they
my
can
kids
look
say
back
to
and
me
see.
now, and I'm nowhere near 60. You know what I mean?
Well, imagine being able to look back and see your grandparents doing something that they're passionate about.
Yeah.
And literally watch them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In their heyday, like doing
Their
it.
prime.
Yeah, man. I know, like my dad's dad, he was a farmer, and the story I heard is that he worked skin and bone in England. He worked his worked hard to go back to Jamaica, buy a piece of land and work that land till it killed him. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'd love to see, because when I knew my granddad, he came to live with us in his last few years, and he was decrepit, man. He was blind. He was, he had diabetes. He was frail. But when I went to Jamaica and heard the stories of him, he was a strong farmer, a strong, strapping man. And I would love to be able to have, imagine seeing a vlog of him saying, yeah, man, this is my land I've bought and I'm planning to do this, and then to actually see him do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the reason I do the vlogging and the stuff online is I want to document that. This is something I'm passionate about. I've tried to walk away from it and I can't walk away from it. You know what I mean? It's like someone said to me before, did God tell you to stop making music? I'm like, not really, no. So why did you do it? Because I thought it was the right thing to do. Because I didn't think it would be accepted in the church.
It's a gift that you've got, man. So you don't use it. You kind of, you're disrespecting it, aren't you? Really?
That's what I'm saying. So not everyone can do it.
That's powerful, man. That's powerful. That's deep. I love that.
Yeah, man.
Love that.
So yeah, man. I just thought, what? It's something that I'm passionate about. It's woven into my fabric, into my DNA. You know what I mean? You've heard my story this evening. You know what I mean? From young. It's who I am. And I can't run from it. I've tried to run from it. I've prayed and says, Lord, take it away. If you're not happy with it, if it doesn't please you, take it away. Take that desire away. You know what I mean? And here I am wearing a Pad Bank t-shirt with an MPC in a studio behind me. So
serious, you ain't going nowhere, man. It is, man. It's in you.
What can I say, man? It is what it is. And that's it. I'm not... Go on.
KRS says, man, if you like me, hip hop is in your body. You know what I mean? That's you, man. Do you know what I mean? 100%.
That's it. And I'm at that stage in my life where I can't live my life to please other people. You know what I mean? I know there are people who, look at me and say, well, oh, there was a time where Tony was doing this and now he's doing that. Well, yeah, man, there's a time and a season for everything. You know what I mean? And one thing I know is seasons change and times change. You know what I mean? But God don't change. And the same way he called me in Boots' yard when I was high and drunk and full of sin, he loved me then. He loved me enough to call me then. You know what I mean? How much more now I've committed the strongest years of my life, the whole of my 20s and the whole of my 30s, committed to serving God. Trevor, I was on it, man. Do you get what I'm saying? I was on it. So, I surrendered those years of my life to serve God and serve my family. And it's like, I've come to a point now where it's like, okay, I can have a little bit of me back. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm still conscious of God in my life. You know what I mean? I still acknowledge him. You know what I mean? I might not be doing the things I was doing, 4 or 5 years back in terms of going out and, overtly evangelizing and doing, literally working for the Lord. But I feel like I've done that. And I'm not ashamed of that. You know what I mean? I'm proud of that. That was a big part of my life. And that's brought me to this stage now. So whatever these next years hold for me, that's God's will. That's in God's plan. So we'll see where it goes.
Wicked. I think that story there, what you said there about sort of you're doing something for you now. This is something that's in you and it's come back and you're saying, right, okay, from 2016, I'm going to get back on this music thing and start producing. And it's kind of getting that time back for you. I think that's probably a story a lot of parents will have where you invest, like you have kids and that's the most important thing you have. As soon as you hold your child for the first time, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird when I hold my daughter for the first time. It's kind of like, it's kind of like, that's more important than you. Do you know what I mean? I remember having my daughter and we went to see some relatives and they were like passing my daughter around and I got anxious, because I know they're not gonna, they brought me up, but they're passing my daughter around and I'm like, hold her head right and you know what I mean? They've got kids themselves and do you know what I mean?
Nothing else
amazing.
matters.
Nothing else matters. Nothing else
Yeah,
matters.
man.
So, but when
That's
you get
it.
to a certain age and they've got that independence and they're
Mm.
doing their own thing and they don't need mom and dad around, it's kind of
Yeah,
getting that thing back for you. And now this is your time to do your thing
Yeah,
and do
man.
what you're built to do, rude boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
beautiful to see, mate, because that EP you've just dropped,
Mm.
it's fire. It's literally fire. Literally fire.
Yeah,
Literally
yeah, fire in my soul. Yeah, man, I
Literally
appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. You know what? You see that the sound that I was able to achieve on that EP,
Mm.
it's taken this long for me to be able to achieve that sound.
Real.
So from 95 when I made my first beat at Sam Sharp to 97 when I got my first MPC, it's taken that many years for me to be able to achieve that sound. I feel like that's almost like my debut, you know what I mean? And it was, I've said it before, it was the quickest project I've ever turned around. You know what I mean? Usually I'll sit on beats for years. I've got stuff in the MPC that I made in 2016 that will probably never see the light of day. I've got hundreds of beats that I've made. You know what I mean? There's times where I'll make like 5 beats a day. There's times where I'll make, you know, on a weekend, I could make 15 beats on a Saturday and Sunday. You know, I'm just bang them out, save it, next one, new sample, bang, bang, bang. Nothing too long. You know, I'm about capturing the essence. I don't spend too long on it. Where with that, it was like, it just came together. I literally, when that dropped, there's no track on that EP that's over 4 weeks old from the day it was launched. Everything was made in that space of time. It's just one batch of beats that I made. They all had the same essence. They all had the same vibe. And it was literally like it made itself. Do you get what I'm saying? I've done a shortlisting process. I got it down from about 12 beats down to 10, from 10 down to 8. And then there was a few on there. I was like, nah, that one's not really going to work. Take that one off. And I'm going to make that one like a snippet. And that one's just going to be a little prelude, interlude kind of thing. And it just worked. It just came together. And I thought, you know what? I'm putting this out. I'm just putting it out. I'm not going to long it out. I'm not going to make a big deal about it. Again, it's one of those, it's documented. So when people go and look back and say, what have you done? There it is. That's what I've done. You know what I mean? So.
No, it's heavy.
Man.
So the pad bank, I see you rocking the pad bank top, man. Talk to me about pad bank.
Yeah, man.
What's that all about, mate?
So the pad bank came about again 2016 when I bought my MPC. I had to start that learning journey again. You know what I mean? I had a knowledge of production. I knew how to produce. I knew how to use an MPC. But again, because it's all updated now, it's all hardware and software. So the MPC is like a controller and it's all on the computer. I had to start learning again. So that led me to YouTube. That led me to certain Facebook groups. And what I found was like, so specifically the Facebook groups, there was so much trash in the Facebook groups. I was, you know what Facebook groups are like? You go in there, it's pure negative, it's pure trash talking, it's pure trolling or self-promotion. You know what I mean? More, especially in the music game, you know what I mean? Everyone's like, buy my new sample pack. You know, everyone's just self-promoting themselves. Yeah. I'm looking to learn. I'm coming into these groups for knowledge. So I'm asking questions and people are like, oh, like, who don't know that? Like I'm dumb.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, asking them dumb questions again. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I felt like
they've been in exactly the same position however many years back.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's it. So me being me, I was like, you know what? I'm not begging no one nothing. I'm making my own group. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? So I just made a group on Facebook. I called it the Pad Bank. And I invited a few people that are new to it. And then, you know, it went from like 15 people in the group to 35 people in the group. And then what I started doing, just to keep myself motivated and to keep others motivated, I started doing a flip it challenge. So every week I would post a sample and you got a week to turn it around and submit your beat. And once I started doing that, the numbers started growing. So people started to join to get involved in a flip it challenge. And at the same time, I was documenting my journey on YouTube. So again, every time I turn on the sampler, I'll turn on the video and I'm trying to work out how do I do this? And, you know what I mean? I'm making a beat. And when I listen back to some of the beats now, some of the beats are trash, but I was documenting my journey. It's my learning journey. And obviously people started seeing that. And then they would then, because I'd say, oh yeah, man, the Pad Bank. They would then go to the Pad Bank and join the group. Yeah. So before I knew it, there was like 700 members in the group. Do you get what I'm saying? Everyone's getting, not everyone, but a good portion of them are you know, either new producers or quite established producers. A few of them get involved in a Flip It Challenge week in, week out. We're now up to Flip It Challenge 197 this week. We've done 197 Flip It Challenges, to get what I'm saying. We've got like 1,400 members in the group. So it just it became something. Like, it just started off as just a group that I wanted, and it quickly became something. But then because of the business, so that was 2016, 2017. We opened a dessert shop in 2018. So I had to step away. I just couldn't get involved in it. But the community kept on running. They literally kept themselves running. So someone else became a moderator. They started posting a sample. You know what I mean? So there's times where I wouldn't even look at the group for months. And I'd go in there and like, right, they're still doing this. No way. You know what I mean? So then when my time freed up a little bit more, I started to pay a bit more attention to it. And I thought, this is something, these people, they hold this group valuable. You know what I mean? They get something from it. They're engaging in the Flip It Challenge. They keep coming back. Even when I left, they carried on. So there's a real community there. So yeah, man, I think it was last year, I kind of says, I'm focusing on this now. So kind of more established it more as a brand. You know, I've obviously done the branding and everything. I built the website. So there's a website for it. And I then launched the podcast. So it was probably about 3-4 months back, I launched the Pad Bank podcast. And again, that's out there official now. So that's on all the platforms. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, etc. It's out there. So with that, that's just me talking about production related stuff, you know, sharing whatever's fresh or whatever's on my heart at the time. I'll share that. And then I will review the submissions, of the Flip It Challenge. So the beats that the members make, I'll review them and give them feedback. So yeah, man, that's the Pad Bank. So who knows what that can become, but I've got ideas of what it could become. But we'll see what it can become.
Yeah. So the Pad Bank, obviously, it's got like a presence in Facebook within the group, and it's got presence on YouTube as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So I do the live streams on YouTube. So, and again, that they both work hand in hand. So the group was over there doing its thing, and I was on YouTube doing my thing. So I was just live streaming. So, you know, most Friday nights, again, after a tough day at work or a tough week at work, you know what I mean, I'll just come up here, turn my set on, turn the camera on, and just live stream. Sometimes I'll go for an hour. Sometimes I'll go for 3 hours. But again, there's a community there. So that kind of feeds the Pad Bank, and then the Pad Bank feeds that. So, you know, in terms of building the website, I built the website to bring it all together. So if you go to thepadbank.com, you'll see the Flip It Challenge in there. You'll see my production videos, like actual videos I've produced showing how to do this on the MPC. And you'll see the live streams in there as well. So it's all kind of under one umbrella now. So the Pad Bank is the brand, but everything I do, music related, production related, and Pad Bank related, is all in there.
And I'll put a link to the Pad Bank.
Yeah, man.
Find you and everything under this, mate. Definitely, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it.
I've subscribed to that, man, and I've got a bit of learning to do too, man. You're gonna get me addicted to things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, even with that, with the videos, it was about I'm trying to learn, but I'm also teaching. So in me working this out, someone can watch it and they can learn as well. And the amount of people that have come and said, "Yo, I've learned so much from watching your videos." Like, people will see a video, they'll join the Pad Bank, and they'll message me, because they're on Facebook now. They'll message me saying, "Yo, yeah, man, I watched your videos on YouTube. Yo, I learned so much just from watching a couple of your videos, man. I really appreciate it." I remember I was in another Facebook group for MPC users, and somebody just randomly posted a question, "How do I do this?" So I just jumped in and says, "Oh yeah, you just need to do this. Go to this screen, press that button and do that." The guy was like, "No way, it's Tony Brown. I watched all your videos, bro. Yo, respect." He was gassed, and I was like, the man proper was like a fan. You know what I mean? He was gassed. And I just had to laugh. I thought, wow, you know what I mean? You don't realize the impact you're making. I'm just doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And this guy was gassed that I commented on his Facebook post, his question in Facebook. He was like, wow. So yeah, man. That's the Pad Bank's got a lot of legs. You know what I mean? A lot can come from it, you know, whether it be, I mean, obviously COVID has changed things, but, You know, I was going to do like producer related events and just bring people from all over the place to set up their equipment and do like a retreat kind of thing. So, you know, I mean, we rent like an Airbnb or something. We'll all stay there, you know, and just everyone set up their stuff, and whatever we produce, we'll put it out as an album, and we document the whole thing as well for YouTube. I had ideas of doing that.
Sick.
Obviously we've done 3 albums as well. So, the Pad Bank Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3, the 88 edition. Those are all projects that came from the producers in the group. So I'll just put it out there to say, right, we're going to do a beat tape. Submit your beats. We'll pick the best ones, and we're going to put it out on Bandcamp. And then one of them was like, right, we're going to do a beat tape, but it's going to be called the 88 edition. And you can only sample stuff from 88. It's got to have an 88 influence. So, you know what I mean? A sample that, say, Big Daddy Kane used, or a sample that PE used in 88. Pick any 88 classic.
Right,
yeah. So that, you know, that came out, and obviously I'll put mine out under the Pad Bank brand as well. And Fire, which is the company. So Fire's like the umbrella company, Pad Bank's the brand. So I got Fire Limited, that's the company. So everything runs under that. So yeah, man, it's a lot going on.
there's 1 or 2 things going on, Tony. You know what I mean? 1 or 2 things, man, and it's exciting. And it's exciting to watch, man, because I know where you've come from, and I love it, mate. Do you know what I mean? To be honest, do you know what I mean? Like watching the videos, watching your content on YouTube with your Pad Bank stuff, and hearing you release that EP, man, I felt it, mate. I loved it. One time straight to Bandcamp, download that thing in FLAC, rinsed it, mate. Do you know what I mean? I was loving that. Do you know what I mean?
I appreciate the support, man. You know what I mean? Because obviously, we not just with lockdown, but just you know what I mean, in general, you can feel kind of isolated. You're just doing your thing. So when you put it out, I was a bit nervous. I was like, okay, I don't know how this is going to be received. I'll put it out, and then, you know what I mean, the feedback I was getting back, like people were like, yo, this is good. You know what I mean? Obviously, you can be your own worst critic, or you can be your biggest fan. So there's one day you listen to it and think, yo, this is hot. Yeah, man, this is heavy. Another day you listen to it and think, nah, man, I ain't sure. So that when you get that affirmation from someone else, it's like, yeah, man, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
Nah, it's heavy, man. It's heavy. So I'm excited to see what else is coming from that NPC of yours, sir. Most definitely, man. Most definitely, man. Anything else you want to shout out, my friend? We could be going on for like 5 hours, you know, Bridget.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know what I mean?
I'm standing up here, you know. I hope you realise.
I appreciate it, man. Definitely.
That's what I'm like, shifting from foot to foot like this, man. Do you know what I mean?
You need to get a bench or a stool or something, man. Get a little stool.
Like a bar stool or something.
But yeah, man, I mean, just go to the padbank.com. Everything's there. You know what I mean? If you want to see what I'm doing musically, go to the padbank.com and you'll see everything there. Other than that, you know what I mean? I'm just keeping my head down, working from home, you know what I mean? Home educating the kids, you know, just trying to be a good husband, a good father, and you know what I mean? A contributor to my society. You know what I mean?
Message.
Yeah. That's it.
No, wicked, man.
Yeah.
Wicked.
But yeah, man, I definitely appreciate, you know what I was saying? I thought about it today. This is the first time I've been interviewed about my musical journey. You know what I mean? Obviously, I've done loads of stuff in the past. I've shared my testimony about, you know, my walk with God. You know, I've done interviews about the business stuff I was doing before when I've done the book. Bag of interviews about that. I've done stuff about youth work. Whatever, I've been interviewed about loads of different things. This is the first time I've ever been interviewed about my musical journey. So I appreciate it, man.
Buddha Palm, man. We like being the first to do things to get me. So
yeah, man.
That's it's my pleasure, man. Do you know what I mean? Because I mean, my whole sort of goal for this is to bring on people that I love and respect, and also people that I think need a spotlight shown on them because they're going on with a thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? You are definitely there. Croc is definitely there. You are definitely there. And there's a lot of other people I'm approaching that coming soon that show you the same thing, mate. Do you know what I mean? There's so much talent.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's the ability to do that now. You don't even have to be in the same room like we are now. We can do it virtually and still have the same effect, same impact, man. So wicked.
And I think the timing's perfect. You know what I mean? You look at what's going on, you know, people are stuck in their yard and, you know, frustrations are high and, you know, people are going through stuff, man. So to hear candid conversations like this and You know, there's a bit of joke in there, there's some seriousness in there, the music's in there. It's perfect, man. It's perfect. People need it, and you know, I'm excited to see where this will go. You know what I mean? Because the other thing as well is like, there's so much content out there that is celebrity driven. This is real life, real down to earth people that people can relate to. So, you know, we might say something in this time we're talking that could click for someone, and like, you know what? If he can do that, I can do that. If he's done that, we can do that. You know what I mean? It's easier to be inspired by someone you can relate to. A bit like me seeing Goldie, because I can touch him. He was there, and then I seen him blow. It was like, I can do that. There's probably people watching this who have got a podcast inside of them. There's probably someone who's got a book inside of them. You know what I mean? And just hearing us talk and whatever might just inspire them to say, you know what? I'm writing that book. I'm starting today.
Yeah. Well, I've got more people coming on, like yourself, your good self. You're a published author. I've got other close friends who just got published this week. Do you know what I mean? So they're all coming on, man. And it's the regular people doing amazing things. And that's what I love, man. It's inspirational to me. Do you know what I mean? To see people that I know and respect do a thing. I love people succeeding. I love people doing a thing. Just try a thing. Nothing wrong with it, man.
That's it, man.
Nothing wrong with flopping. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. That's the route to success.
Exactly, man.
But yes, big tech,
Mr. Brown. Nothing
salute,
but love
man.
Every single time, sir.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? You keep on smashing it with the production. Do you know what I mean? I will be watching you closely on Padbank, most definitely, and asking you full questions from time to time. Most definitely, man. Do you know what I mean? But it's been a pleasure.
Appreciate it, man. It's been good. It's been good.
You know, 2 hours 50. You know.
I'm sorry for you editing this. Trust me.
I'm not editing. I'm just dashing it out as it is.
Put it out as it is, yeah, man. I don't blame you. Man.
But this is long, man. You know what I mean? It's going to crash my laptop. Nah, wicked, man. Absolutely
it's been good, man.
Perfect, mate. It's been good. Be good. Watcher.
Nice one.
Enough respect, T.
Yeah.
All right, then. Nice one.
Nice one.
Well, that was a good one. That was an interesting one. It was interesting seeing and listening to Tony's journey from days when we grew up running with Marines in Wolves to his journey into music production, DJing, music production, and then leaving the music world behind to go and follow his path of faith, and then discovering that actually hip-hop and music production's in his DNA, so he's come full circle. And that's interesting. It's one of those things where you can think, well, maybe there's something that I've stopped doing that's really still part of me, and maybe you're never too old to start something back up again, man. So maybe there's a lesson in there for us all, yeah? So big respect to Tony, enough love, thanks for passing through, T, and we'll be back next week with more amazing guests. We've got some good ones lined up for you. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like, please hit subscribe and the notification bell. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, on Instagram, all them good thing there. So, peace.